It's a beautiful night for baseball, and live from Coors Field in Denver, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Colorado Rockies in the first of a three-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, along with Oral Hershiser and Nomar Garciaparra. 13 games remain. The Dodger lead over the Giants is but 3. The Dodgers feeling awfully good about themselves, winning 2 of 3 in San Francisco over the weekend. And this afternoon, they find out that Clayton Kershaw was named the National League Player of the Week. Won both of his starts this week at AT&T Park yesterday. 2 runs and 7 hits in 8 innings. Yet his ERA went up from 167 to 170, and his opponent's batting average went up from 188 to 190. Certainly the best pitcher in the game these days. The Dodgers feeling good about themselves, having won 7 of their last 9. Now they come to Colorado facing perhaps a letdown.
Yeah, Don Mattingly's worried about a letdown. You come out of a big series, you extend your lead, and there's a problem there because the adrenaline might not be there. You're not playing the Giants. But the guys that can prevent that letdown are the starting pitchers, and we have 3 of them here. And it's not the big 3. This is the back end of the rotation. Roberto Hernandez, Dan Herron, and Carlos Frias. With the big 3, with Ryu down, these guys have the responsibility of preventing a letdown by taking the mound, throwing ground balls, throwing strikes, giving this offense, which we don't worry about really anymore, a chance to give them the wins.
So the Dodger offense certainly turning things around, no more so than Matt Kemp, who's been just great since the All-Star break.
Well, since the All-Star break, he's looked like the Matt Kemp of old, the year he should have won the MVP, and he's been doing it from both sides of the plate. Once he moved to right field, he hasn't just been good, he's been outstanding and coming up with a huge play against the San Francisco Giants. And on the offensive side, he's been nothing but clutch. He's been consistent. I mean, and you need your big-time players to step up coming down in September, and that's exactly what Matt Kemp has done. He looks healthy, he looks comfortable, and most importantly, he looks confident.
Dodgers have 7 games remaining on the road this year, 3 here in Colorado, 4 against the Cubs. These 2 teams are combined 60 games under 500. Dodgers have a chance to make some hay. Back with the lineup and first pitch after this.
City for baseball. Fans making their way into Coors Field as they get ready to take in Game 1 of a 3-game set between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Colorado Rockies in Denver. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside Coors Field. I'm Alana Rizzo. An update for you on left-handed starter Hyun-Jin Ryu, who left Friday's game in San Francisco after the first inning after suffering with left shoulder irritation. Now, he did have an MRI today back in Los Angeles. Dr. Neil Elitrosh looked at the results, and there is no damage as far as anything besides inflammation. No news is good news. He left Friday, as I mentioned, with shoulder irritation. This season, 14-7. Now, he has been on the disabled list before, April 28th to May 21st, with the same issue. The Dodgers are hoping it's not as serious. He will miss his start on Wednesday here in Denver. That will be the responsibility of Carlos Frias. Now, Hyun-Jin Ryu will not meet the team here in Colorado. He will meet the team in Chicago, and he is not going to throw for about 4 days. He will start a sub-maximal throwing program in Chicago and will be reevaluated then. On the hill tonight, it is the right-hander Roberto Hernandez going for his 9th win of the season. Don Mattingly looking for his starting pitcher to set the tone against the Colorado Rockies here in Denver. After the break, Charlie Steiner, Nomar Garcia-Parra, and Oral Hershiser on the call. We'll be right back.
Ball in the air on this Monday night in Denver, Colorado, as the Dodgers and Rockies get ready for the first of a 3-game series. And tonight's closed captioning is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. Der Fun since '61. It's been a long time since the Colorado Rockies have finished the season above 500. 2010, this year, it's the same old song. The Rockies begin play tonight at 59-90. 26 games behind the Dodgers, who are feeling awfully good about themselves, having won 7 of their last 9, 2 of 3 in San Francisco. Oral, Nomar, we were talking in the open, there is the inevitable danger of the letdown, something the Dodgers can ill afford to have happen with a 3-game lead over the Giants with 13 to play.
The intensity that you feel in a rivalry game and a rivalry series in the opposing team's park is completely different than when you come here to Colorado and you're playing a team that really is playing out the string and they really have nothing to lose, and you have to get up for these games.
Yeah, you're dealing with fatigue because the emotion, you're just coming down from the high against San Francisco. And also there's fatigue you get when you're coming to Colorado in general, when you're dealing with that thin air. So those two things they have to battle. And oftentimes you can also utilize the crowd to get you going. Well, they don't have that as well. So I think just hopefully the thought that they have the chance of winning their division is motivating enough, and they can get off to a good start.
Mattingly's club has won 9 of 13 against the Rockies, and here is the lineup that Don has put together tonight. The same as it's been the last 3 games, with Gordon and Puig and Gonzalez, and Matt Kemp has been a house of fire since the All-Star break. Hanley Ramirez hot of late. Carl Crawford's got a 5-game hitting streak. Uribe at third. A.J. Ellis is the catcher. Roberto Hernandez is pitching and batting 9th. And the Dodgers are going to be facing a 26-year-old Southern Californian. Christian Bergman, who went to Cal Irvine, an anteater, is making his 8th start of the year for the Rockies.
And his first career run versus the Dodgers, so they have not seen him yet, but he's not overpowering on the hill. He's described by Walt Weiss as a crafty right-hander. You usually hear that when describing a left-hander, but his fastball, nothing down the middle. He throws a lot of strikes, but it has a slight tail down in the zone. He's got a slider that has a slight break on the other side of the plate. He'll throw occasional changeup and an occasional curveball, but mostly the fastball and the slider. Look for that. But he doesn't strike out a whole lot of batters, but he doesn't walk them either.
These are two teams heading in different directions. It's the 25th of July. The Dodgers 29-17, best record in the league. Colorado 18-29 since that time, and their pitching has fallen apart. And Walt Weiss, it's been a long year for him and for the Rockies. Defensively behind Bergman tonight, Rafael Anoa, once upon a time a Dodger at third base. Arenado's got bruised ribs. Rutledge at short. Of course, Tulowitzki's done for the year. LeMahieu at second base. Morneau at first. Corey Dickerson in left. Charlie Blackmon got off to the great start this year, slumping lately. Michael Kadire is in right. And Willeen Rosario behind the plate. He throws out about 16% of would-be base stealers. And D. Gordon has been the best in baseball this year with 61 swipes. So he steps into the batter's box. Gordon at 289 with 163 hits. And the first pitch of the game is a call strike, 0-1. Gordon with an on-base percentage of .328. And that number is probably much more important than his batting average, just to get on base and wreak havoc. And when he does, he does. No balls, 2 strikes.
It's good to see D back with that confidence and that glimmer in his eye, like he is really in tune with the game. Struggled through a slump where he really lost what I thought was a little bit of his game face, where he lost a little bit of his confidence. He stuck with the process like we've talked about with D. Gordon the whole year, but coming out early, working through that with his batting practice and different things, he looks like he's back on his game.
A ball and 2 strikes. We're just underway, the first of a 3-game set. And caught at shortstop by Josh Rutledge.
And that was a perfect example, Oro. I mean, good approach, wasn't afraid to get to 2 strikes, saw some pitches, and then had a great approach there with 2 strikes, driving that ball the other way. Just unfortunate that he hit it right at the shortstop.
Yasiel Puig stepping in. There's Rutledge who made the play. Puig riding now a 6-game hitting streak. And slowly but surely it looks like his swing has returned. He has struggled mightily over the past couple of months, in fact. And he bounces a base hit into center field. So make it 7 games in a row for Yasiel Puig with a base hit.
And you know what I liked? Again, looking to see if he can take that extra base. Every time he's running, he's trying to get that extra base. And we saw how critical that was in that Giants series. I think really set the tone for those 2 wins against them.
With 1 out and nobody on Saturday night after Gordon had struck out, Puig stretched a single into a double. It ignited the Dodgers, who would score 4 in the first, 4 in the second, and come up with an historic 17-0 win over the Giants, and that really turned the ship around. Adrian Gonzalez at 276 takes a strike. It's 0-1. Gonzalez with 103 runs batted in is second in the National League, second only to Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton is done for the year, so it would appear if Gonzalez can continue to do what he has done, he'll be the RBI champ. Needs 2 to even up with Stanton.
Adrian is not the leader in the clubhouse, but he is still out on the course, and so he looks to be
to win an RBI crown. This is an outstanding accomplishment.
And you see that shift they have on Adrian, and usually with a single baller that he faces, he's not afraid to go the other way, stay inside. So, you know, leaving him a hole over there to do what he does best is against a guy who has a little sink on his fastball.
So the infield is shifted to the right, and the center fielder Blackman is shaded toward left center. For Adrian Gonzalez, with 37 doubles on the year, he ranks 5th in that category. And so his batting average may be down a little bit, not his overall production, not by any stretch.
I think the batting average being down is a reflection of all the shifts now that are going on in Major League Baseball, and I think Adrian, as far as number of hits, has gotten eaten a few.
Down the left field line, slicing foul and out of play.
But we watch his RBI totals and his home run totals, and they're staying pretty consistent. So when he's in a key situation, he hits to the situation and can still get those RBIs, and they can't put a shift on over the fence. So it's just kind of stealing. These shifts are kind of stealing some of the hard ground balls that he's hit throughout the year.
So Gonzalez, ever productive, at first slide for Puig. No balls and a strike. We're just underway with 1 out.
You know, Nomar, I'm sitting here watching Adrian take his stance. It looks like to me he's a little taller and he's got a little more weight on his back leg. Like he really understands he can handle Christian Bergman. This is not a guy he's intimidated by his velocity or his stuff. He's up there to really launch the ball.
The other thing, too, is this is the first time he's seen him. I know they have video, but he wants to get a good look at the pitches, watch the movement, recognize to see what the break might be like. And also, you know, if you're getting deep in the count, to see if he's willing to throw every pitch at him so he has an idea even for the next time if he faces him.
You're mentioning the situational hitting of Adrian Gonzalez. He leads the National League with 11 sacrifice flies. So he does what he's needed to do. Puig was off and running, a good rip and a foul back. Looked like he had it stolen, too. So Yasiel Puig with 8 stolen bases on the year, but he's been caught 7 times. Again, body language being what it is, and watching Puig up in San Francisco over the weekend, almost get a sense he has been re-energized down the stretch. There he goes again, swing and a miss. Throw to second base is not in time. Gonzalez down on strikes, but Puig steals second.
Yeah, Charlie, you talk about the body language of Yasiel Puig and the energy he brings to the game, even when he's mired in that slump. When he gets his hits, he finds a way to get the extra base and continue to play the game hard, and he does it right here with this hard slide. Nomar, we've talked about his slides now as they're starting to improve.
But he was calling himself safe, which is, you know, that's what I like. And I wonder if these guys are kind of delaying to see if they're looking at it right now in the replay to see if they might have got him before his foot got in there. Just kind of stalling right here, but you know, there they are. They're on the phone wondering. And
this is where baseball has to tighten up the replay rule.
Right.
To take 15 or 20 seconds to have a phone conversation, then have the manager go out and have another conversation. Well, he beat it in. Now Matt Kemp, who drills one to right center field. That is well hit, and that is gone. A home run. Matt Kemp continues his relentless tear the second half of the season. His 21st home run. 2 RBIs gives him 76, and 2 home runs in about 24 hours. Dodgers take an early 2-0 lead. A big blast and some tiny bubbles.
We have talked about Matt Kemp, how confident and comfortable he has looked at home plate. And also his timing has been just incredible over the last couple months. And this was a breaking ball. And this is a perfect example. You see that front foot, it's strided, but his body did not go forward. He kept his body back. And that's why he was able to have the power to drive that ball to right center.
That brings up Hanley Ramirez. And Ramirez takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes. So Matt Kemp, good as new. And Hanley Ramirez bangs a base hit into center field. Gordon lines out, hit the ball right on the button. Puig with a single to center. Gonzalez struck out. Puig stole second. Kemp with a long distance home run, and now Ramirez bangs a base hit.
Well, we talked about those letdowns, and we talked about how do you try to get over that letdown. Well, this is big to try to score first, get on the board, get that adrenaline going. But at the same time, you also know it's Colorado, and you know that no lead feels safe here. So you just got to keep having quality at bats and keep trying to produce more and more runs.
And here comes the red-hot Carl Crawford.
And Don Mattingly's media scrum, he talked about the letdown and the worry that it could come, and he said, you know what, it's really going to come down to Roberto Hernandez. And well, Roberto hasn't even taken the mound yet, and who has prevented the letdown so far and set the tone is Matt Kemp in the offense. So Roberto responsible for the defensive side, but that hasn't had an opportunity yet.
Crawford slaps it foul. Crawford, since August the 10th, is hitting .429. 3 home runs, 17 runs batted in, and he scored 21 runs.
That's pretty good.
Well, you were mentioning, Oral, in the open, for a long time in the middle of the season, the Dodger offense was an issue. Hasn't been lately. Crawford down on strikes, and that will end the inning. But Matt Kemp with his 21st home run of the season. He has always enjoyed facing Colorado pitching, and he hit it the other way. Roberto Hernandez has a 2-run lead to work with as we go to the bottom of the first. Dodgers in the top half of the first with his 21st home run of the year. Hit one yesterday in San Francisco, and he's picked a fine time of the year to get hot. Of course, Walt Weiss has been looking for a hot streak all year, and he has struggled, and so has his club, which is 31 games under 500. But Justin Morneau's had a good career against Roberto Hernandez. Michael Kadire is back in the middle of the lineup. And Dickerson, Rosario, Inoa, the one-time Dodger, LeMahieu, and Bergman. It's going to be Charlie Blackmon leading off. against Roberto Hernandez.
And Roberto enjoying a 2-run lead that he's been staked to by Matt Kemp and the Dodgers. Keep the ball down. Look to throw a lot of strikes, get ahead, but he has struggled in his last 2 outings, and it's mainly been the home run ball, getting the ball up. His forte is his sinker. He's got the second best ground ball ratio since he was activated in 2006.
Here's Charlie Blackmon fouling it off to the left. Blackmon, pre-All-Star break, was hitting over 300, 305 with 14 home runs. But since the All-Star break, not only is power numbers down, hitting just 242. Blackmon, Rutledge, and Morneau in the bottom of the first.
Or we talk every time we come to Colorado how the altitude, how the humidity affects the pitcher, affects the movement of breaking balls. But does it have the same effect for a sinker, for your sinker ball as well? And what adjustments do you have to make with that if it does?
I think it eliminates about 25% of any movement on any pitch.
Gotcha.
You know, if you've got a curveball that breaks 2 feet down and 6-8 inches left to right, all of a sudden it's only going to break about 1.5 feet, and it's only going to move a little bit left to right. And if your slider is usually late and sharp, it's going to be late and sharp, but it's going to be shorter.
2 balls, make it 3 balls and 2 strikes to Charlie Blackmon. Rutledge at shortstop. Of course, Tulowitzki done for the year. Carlos Gonzalez done for the year. So 2 of their best players out for a long time. And Blackmon won't go quietly on the first batter that Hernandez is facing.
And that's the other thing that's so hard to do here. As we take a look at Michael Goodire right there getting ready. It's so hard to get guys to swing and miss here because of that cut down on the break and the late break of the ball.
On 3-2.
One of the things I like about Roberto right here early on, just watching his mechanics, I know it's a long at bat against Charlie, but he is staying tall in his delivery. So as his leg kick comes up, he is not collapsing his upper body down to his lower half. He's actually gaining height as he kicks his leg, and that's going to give him an angle to drive the ball down and to get the ball to sink. I think a lot of times he gets in trouble when he collapses his upper body and he's almost throwing the ball, which feels like uphill.
Pitch count has been an issue for Hernandez since coming to the Dodgers. In his last start against the Padres, 3 innings, 59 pitches. Previous start against Washington, 4 1/3, 91 pitches.
You watch the leg kick here of Roberto as he drives. He walked Blackmon, but it was a good walk because he's up and he's driving the ball down. I like the angle he's creating.
So pitch count has been an issue and walks have been an issue for Hernandez. Missing outside to Josh Rutledge. So Rutledge getting the work at shortstop with Tulowitzki having gone down with the hip. Justin Morneau on deck. Uribe has just one play. Blackmon goes to second, too slowly hit for a thought of a double play. Defensively behind Hernandez tonight, Crawford and Puig and Kemp in the outfield. Uribe and Hanley Ramirez on the left side, D. Gordon, Adrian Gonzalez on the right side, and A.J. Ellis behind the plate. So the Dodgers using the same lineup every day these days.
Why wouldn't you? Especially the way they were against San Francisco those last 2 games. It's like just print it out, the same thing, make a copy of it, and just change the pitcher.
Justin Morneau, the second leading hitter in the league, as Blackmon steals third base. Ball can't be handled by Ellis.
Now Blackmon stole that off of Roberto Hernandez. He got out there with a pretty good lead and went on first move, and Roberto only gave him one look. AJ saw that he was going to have to be quick, and the movement of the sinker as AJ goes to catch it plus try and throw it at the same time. He went for a do or die throw to third, but I don't think he had a chance.
So important for the Dodgers to hold serve after scoring 2 in the top of the first, but here's Colorado knocking on the door. To third, Uribe coming home. Blackman in a rundown. Now it is Hernandez covering the plate. Uribe will tag Blackman 10 feet from home. Going to second base is Morneau. The Dodgers catch a break. There's 2 out.
Well, this is a good job by Juan Uribe, recognizing where the runner is. He's able to come in and charge that ball, and knowing he has a play at home plate, and they get him in a rundown. I mean, ideally, you would like to get him quicker than that so the runner doesn't advance to second base, but nonetheless, that's okay as long as you get him out there because there's 2 outs there, and just a good job getting that guy out.
5-2-5 is the scoring. And Kadire steps in. Kadire at 320, but just 150 at-bats this year. Fouls it back, and it's 0-1. No question about the fact that the Rockies have had a bad year. They've also had bad luck and a crowded disabled list. Walt Weiss and his bench coach Tom Runnels.
They're not only having injury troubles at the big league level, even some of their top prospects are being hurt down in the minor league level. Some of their pitchers are being shut down with elbow problems and arm problems.
Kadire, hard ground ball, fair down into the left field corner. Morneau will score. Kadire's on his way to second, and he will make it easily. The Rockies are on the board. The Dodger lead has been trimmed to 2-1.
A.J. Ellis is griping a little bit down there to Brian Onora. Don Mattingly's going to stick his head out of the dugout. A.J. thinks it might have been foul. Juan Uribe's pointing in the opposite direction of Brian Onora, and Don Mattingly's going to have a little chat with him.
Onora, the crew chief. It is a third base umpire's call once it crosses third base. Between home and third, or home and first, it is the home plate umpire's call. So Kadire with his 21st run batted into the year. Home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt. He's 43 in his 16th big league season. And his dad was a great umpire, Harry Wendelstedt. So at second base is Kadire and Corey Dickerson stepping in. Dickerson at 306. Into center field. Here comes Puig to make the play. And that will end the inning. So the Dodgers scored 2 in the top half of the first. Hernandez gives up 1 in the bottom of the first. Uribe, Ellis,
2-1 lead over Christian Bergman and the Colorado Rockies. You heard Charlie Steiner talk about it earlier, that Christian Bergman has a SoCal tie. Of course, he is from Southern California. He was born in Glendale, went to St. Francis High School in La Cañada. And the guys that know him best here say that he's kind of a chill guy. He loves the Dodgers, though, of course, before he became a Colorado Rocky. Of course, a big fan of Mike Piazza. Of course, Matt Kemp passing Mike Piazza on the all-time home run list today with 178 home runs. He's coming to L.A. next week. He's excited to pitch there. They say that he's a chill guy, but comes out to Whiskey in the Jar by Metallica. So perhaps chill, perhaps a little rock and roll Southern Cal tie. And right now, he's down 2-1, guys.
Bergman on the rocks. Juan Uribe will lead it off for the Dodgers in the second. Uribe's been around 300 all year. Steps in with 106 base hits at 304. And Uribe. Remember Mike Myers when he pitched here? Remembered a young Juan Uribe. Well, Juan has never been thin. And so he was a shortstop when he first came up. Now, you think of a shortstop, you think of Nomar.
You trying to say I'm thin?
You are well-proportioned, young fella. Uribe, though, doesn't look like a shortstop, but he was a terrific shortstop, although he certainly found a home at third base. Terrific range and a great arm, of course. Juan Uribe, 1 ball, 1 strike. So the Dodgers beginning the night a half a game behind Washington for the best home record in the National League. And the Nationals are shutting out Atlanta 2-0. They're playing that one in Atlanta in the 7th. Boy, the Braves are in free fall. Here's the 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the Giants are in Arizona later on. Ryan Vogelsong and Wade Miley. So Uribe works the count full, 3-2. Uribe's walked only 13 times all year. Up the middle into center field for a base hit. So far, the Dodgers are making it look easy.
They're wearing out the middle of the field.
Yeah, they're having some good at-bats with that sinker running in on their hands, but still able to stay inside the ball. And this is a perfect example. That ball runs in on Juan, but he doesn't pull out, stays inside of it and goes up the middle. Yasiel had the same type of at-bat and got a base hit.
And the Rockies are shifting the infield against the right-handed hitters around to the left, thinking that sinker they're going to have to roll over it. And the Dodgers are doing a good job hitting it up the middle.
Ellis hitting a .187 with 1 home run and 18 runs batted in. Takes a strike, 0-1. Ellis has 47 hits on the year and 49 walks. No balls and a strike. Ellis takes outside. Nats have gone up now 3-0 on Atlanta, 7th inning at Turner Field.
I really think we're going to see different production out of A.J. Ellis next year. Love to see him get strong and hot here at the end of this year, going into the playoffs. But I think with the ankle injuries and the knee injuries, he's really had a tough time building his base under his swing this year, and then with the rigors of catching on a daily basis and that being his primary concern, I think the offense will improve next year as far as statistics.
Well, he had the left knee scoped, had his right knee bruised on successive days on foul tips, sprained his ankle after the Beckett no-hitter, tripping over Buterra's mask. So in terms of health, it's been a rugged year for A.J. Ellis.
He has not been comfortable, but the pitching staff is very comfortable when he's behind the plate. And that's what his job is. And you can carry somebody hitting below 200 when the offense starts to fire the way it is now.
Dodgers 9 hits yesterday, 24 hits, of course, on Saturday. Shut out by Bumgarner on Friday night. 12 hits against the Padres last Wednesday. 11 hits the day before that, 13 hits before that. So, yes, the Dodger offense has really turned it around in the nick of time. The 2-2, Ellis fouls it off to the right.
And those are the kind of things that once he gets his base under him, Nomar, and you can speak to it better than I can, but he won't miss those mistakes like that. That sinker up that's right down the middle, and it's time to swing.
That's what's frustrating for a hitter. Everybody's like, well, you often focus on maybe that last pitch that you swing and miss, but it's the pitches getting to that one where you know as a hitter, like that was the one I usually square up. That's the first where I'm off just a hair. And that's a perfect example of another one. And see, you see him, kind of just blowing out some air right there. There's just a hint of frustration because, you get that ball, you're going, and we know he works the count. We know he'll foul off some pitches, but at the same time, he works the count to get that pitch right there to drive.
And the reason guys foul the ball off when they don't have real good leg strength and they're dealing with aches and pains is because they come out of their legs too soon. Instead of hitting it squarely, they foul it off. It changes the height of their swing and what their eyes see compared to what's really happening.
And he works the count full.
I used to chart guys' eyes when video started to first come out, and I'd take the grease pen on the TV screen and chart your eyes where it started, and I'd chart your eyes then as you swung. And if your eyes moved up and down, I threw you more curveballs. And if your eyes moved front to back, I threw you more changeups and change speeds on you.
Uribe goes on a full count. And a fly ball to center field, and Blackmon drifting on back.
I figured if your eyes are moving at me quick, that I'm going to be able to change speeds on you, and you're not going to judge the speed of the ball as much. And if your eyes are moving up and down, I'm going to change the height of the ball also. You're changing the height of your eyes. I'm going to change it with you.
It's a pretty interesting concept. I never heard of that, but you have a valid point for sure.
I didn't like the guys like Tony Gwynn who kept his eyes still.
Just stayed there. They're like, head does not move.
Head doesn't move.
I'm in trouble.
He's seeing the ball pretty good.
Yeah. Not off balance.
So now I got to make him hit it at somebody.
Tony had little problem with very few.
They had a guy here, Larry Walker, who had that same kind of, he didn't move his head very much, and he had a lot more power.
Yeah.
Now Roberto Hernandez, who has 8 sacrifice bunts this year. And he's going to try for 9. Nothing in 1. Hernandez has 4 hits in 45 at-bats. And twice as many sacrifices as base hits. After tonight, 12 games remain in the regular season. No balls, 2 strikes. Dodgers and Rockies again tomorrow. It'll be Dan Herron and a left-hander, Tyler Matzik. Wednesday, a matinee. Carlos Frias, Jorge De La Rosa, and then it's on to Chicago. Well, that's the 9th sacrifice bunt of the year for Hernandez, and he does it with 2 strikes. Uribe goes to second. And that'll bring up D. Gordon.
That is such a gift, I think, for Colorado not to play more aggressive on defense right there and take the offensive and try and turn Roberto Hernandez into a double play instead of just giving away a sacrifice if he gets it down. They did not charge in a very aggressive way.
Right.
So D. Gordon, who's been terrific all year, hitting with runners in scoring position. He lined to short in his first at-bat. Gordon 316 with runners in scoring position. Takes a strike. D lined to short in his first at bat. Dodgers scored their 2 in the first on Kemp's 21st home run. 2-run shot. Not a pretty swing.
No. That's one where D looked just fooled on that pitch. Looked like he was expecting something else and got a different pitch.
He was expecting a slider down.
Yeah, that's what he was looking for.
And it became a sinker away.
No balls and 2 strikes. Uribe's at second base. Outfield shallow for Gordon. Well, Bergman fooled him down and away and then up and away. And for Bergman, his 3rd strikeout of the game. No runs, 1 hit. We'll go to the bottom of the 2nd. Rosario, Inoa, and LeMahieu coming up. And Appreciation Day at Dodger Stadium. There'll be a number of giveaways and prizes throughout the game, including 2015 season tickets, a brand new 60-inch class LG Smart TV, United Airlines airfare vouchers, and so much more. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/fan appreciation. Willeen Rosario leading it off and takes a strike. It's 0-1. Rosario, 249, 10 home runs and 44 runs batted in. Big early power hitting catcher with a fly ball to left field, and Crawford is at the wall. He looks up, and just like that, the Rockies have tied it at 2. Hernandez, in his last 5 starts, including tonight, has given up 6 home runs.
And Charlie, right before he hit that, you mentioned about his power, and he got all of that one. And once again, it was a sinker ball right in the middle of the plate, up in the zone. And we say it over and over again, when sinker balls are up in the zone, they flatten out and don't sink and become very hittable.
So Hernandez having his issues. As Inoa, switch hitter, was with the Dodgers for a time. And the Dodgers had a 2-0 lead after the first half of the first, and now here's Colorado all even. Inoa spent most of the year at AAA, 297, 31 doubles, 5 home runs, and he bounces one to Gordon. That's the first out of the second.
Well, for Roberto Hernandez, it's going to be one of those outings sometimes where you're going to give up runs, but you can't give up. And the opposing pitcher has to pitch in these elements. You've got a good offensive club that you're pitching for right here. It's all about keeping your concentration, not worrying about results, and just make the next good pitch.
Well, he's got to maintain his concentration and reclaim his confidence as he delivers a strike to LeMahieu, and it's 0-1. Hernandez in his last 4 starts coming into the game an ERA of almost 6.4, and opposing hitters hitting .324 against him. He's a 33-year-old veteran thrust into the middle of the pennant race.
One of the hardest things is when you pitch in your highest pressure games.
Into right. Kemp on the run. Can't get it. LeMahieu on his way to third, and there will be a throw, but not in time. LeMahieu's 5th triple of the year. And Hernandez getting cuffed around.
You add pressure to poor mechanics and being out of sync with your timing, and it just makes everything fall apart. And that's what Roberto Hernandez is working with right now, where he's very inconsistent with his body. He's creating some good angles, but his timing is off. That was a changeup that he left up. Kind of the same thing as Nomar said with sinkers that are left up and changeups that are left up. They flatten out. They don't get off the barrel of the bat. The hitters see it very well, and they square it up even better.
And once it was squared up, Hernandez flinched. Christian Bergman has 1 sacrifice bunt. The Dodgers are forced to bring the infield in. LeMahieu 90 feet away, and Hernandez misses high and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, you mentioned in the open, Oral, that of course Greinke and Kershaw did their job in San Francisco. Ryu sidelined. We don't know for how long. Now the squeeze is on. And LeMahieu's suicide squeeze is DOA.
The Rockies are playing with house money. They are mathematically eliminated. Just trying some things if they can do it. Walt Weiss trying to find a run right here with his pitcher up there. Even with Roberto Hernandez struggling, Bergman bunts through that ball. That is a critical sin for the Rockies if you're trying to bunt and squeeze.
Well, the Dodgers are fortunate it's only 2-2, because in each of the first 2 innings, the Rockies have had base runners out at the plate.
And by missing that squeeze, it allows the infield to get back, be able to cover more ground.
And Hernandez could take a deep breath. Heading on back is Puig. And he makes the play. Bergman is retired. So are the Rockies, but Willeen Rosario's 11th home run of the year has pulled the Rockies all even at 2 as we go to the 3rd.
to the top of the third inning. And Matt Kemp due up third in this inning. And, of course, he's already had a 2-run home run, giving him 21 on the year. And Matt Kemp loves playing against the Colorado Rockies. If you take a look at our Coors Light cold hard facts, most hits against Colorado this season, look at D. Gordon and Matt Kemp. Two very different players, but the exact same results. 19 hits so far against the Rockies in 2014. And we just saw those guys at the top of the list. Hunter Pence and Buster Posey have also been a terror against these Colorado Rockies. Matt Kemp surpassing Mike Piazza on the all-time home list for the Los Angeles Dodgers with now 178 long balls. D. Gordon, Flash Gordon Jr. with 19 hits against his club, guys.
Yasiel Puig will lead it off for the Dodgers as we head to the top half of the third inning. It'll be Puig and Gonzalez and Kemp. And with Christian Bergman making the last out, he comes out a little bit late to complete his warm-up tosses, which he now, in fact, has. Puig with a single, a stolen base, and a run scored in his first at-bat. Bergman 38 pitches through the first 2 innings. And Puig has lifted his average back to 295. He takes a strike, 0-1. And a little comebacker. One gone.
Nomar, it just seems like he has to reach for that ball on the outside part of the plate.
Yeah, that one was off the plate. That was definitely off the plate, but that's what we see at times when he gets in trouble, is just kind of that reach where the front shoulder still, to me, has a tendency to just fly out a little bit too soon, so that causes that reach. He doesn't stay on it. His at-bat before, he stayed on it, didn't fly out, which was good. And what I've seen when he was slumping was when he gets one in, he really flies open because he's trying to get the barrel of that and stay on it. That one was away, and it was just too far out. I mean, it's something that if he's really having trouble and he's missing strikes, if it's a strike and he's still reaching that far, he might have to look at where he's set up with his feet and maybe move closer to the plate.
0-1 to Gonzalez.
See him coming back, just kind of grabbing his hamstring. Hopefully that's not much, you know, as he was hustling down the line there.
Now up here with the altitude being what it is, dehydration inevitably an issue up here. There tend to be a lot more muscle pulls. No matter the sport. Foul off to the left and out of play.
He's a little less apt to be holding his legs or saying he's kind of semi-hurt, but then arguing about staying in of late, because they've had some conversations with him where he's kind of pulled up a little bit, and then all of a sudden they've said, well, then you're done, and he's like, no, I'm fine. So he's showing less of that.
Gonzalez on 2-2. Works the count full. Adrian Gonzalez, another year of 20 home runs or more, another year of 100 RBIs or more. The 3-2. Do it again.
And there's so many tools that we talk about with baseball players, the 5-tool players like Yasiel Puig with the power and hit for average and the strong throwing arm and the speed and all the different things. Well, Adrian Gonzalez at the plate has a different tool also. And that's the intelligence tool of all the different swings that he can put on different people and different mechanics that he uses depending on what pitch he's expecting.
Wasn't expecting that one. All in all, Matt Kemp's had a pretty good 24 hours. Yesterday in San Francisco, that one to left center. And tonight against Bergman, that one to right center. One of the things that is visually more noticeable in watching Kemp the latter stages of this year as compared to last year The follow through with the left shoulder, which is the one he damaged so badly here in Colorado a couple of years ago. And you talk to hitters, and Adrian Gonzalez knows all about it. If you hurt that front shoulder, it takes a while for the strength and the follow through to come back to what it once was.
Well, what it allows you to do is to get extension, extending through the ball to get that extra drive, that extra backspin for the ball to carry. We often, because whether it hurts or not, subconsciously also takes over, and you don't want to hurt yourself, so you don't necessarily extend. And now he's doing that. And the other thing too, early on, I think the shoulder was strong early on. We saw that at spring training where he was getting the extension, but he was dealing with the ankle, and he was more squatted down. And now we see him more upright. He's got the shoulder with the extension. It looks like the ankle is feeling better. So all of those things have come together. And I said in the open, he now looks like the Matt Kemp we saw during that MVP type season that he had. He's staying back on the ball. His timing is there. His power is there.
Well, power in throwing and power in hitting are about the same. You have to accelerate something, and then you have to mentally know you can stop it too. So some arms are built to throw a ball, and they can throw it really hard, but you can't stop your arm once the ball's out of your hand, so you won't accelerate. And the same thing with hitting with that left shoulder. He could swing the bat really firmly. He just knew he couldn't stop it. And so he would not swing it firmly, but now he has confidence that he can stop the bat after the swing is over. And he can take the weight and the pressure of the swing.
Kemp with the 2-run home run in the first inning now has 100 career RBIs against the Rockies. And that's the most against any team he has faced. Nationals a 3-0 lead in Atlanta, playing in the top of the 8th. Giants and D-backs getting underway soon. Bergman on 2-2 to Kemp. And we'll do it again.
I always hated that when you had a hot hitter at the plate and made what you make what you think is a good pitch, and they make what they think is a bad swing, but the ball goes foul.
Right.
Now I got to do it all over again. You got another chance.
Kemp with 13 home runs since the All-Star break, but down on strikes, and Bergman has fanned 5. And the Dodgers go down in order. Top of the order for the Rockies when we come back for the bottom of the 3rd. Dodger Stadium for the big series with the Giants next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in order to stage a Dodger Blue Out. All merchandise will be discounted 20% at stadium locations, and special prizes will be given to those sporting the most blue. Don't miss your chance to be part of the Dodger Blue Out. Go to Dodgers.com/tickets to get your tickets today. So the Dodgers and the Giants wrap up their regular season meeting next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But before all that, tomorrow and Wednesday here, 4 games with the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Charlie Blackmon, who walked in his first at-bat, has dropped off noticeably in the second half of the season. He was hitting about 400 the first 3 weeks of the year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Clearly huge losses for the Rockies. Tulowitzki, Cargo. And so Blackmon and Dickerson have had to fill in, as well as Rutledge there at short. The 1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Blackmon. But the Rockies haven't had a winning season since 2010. So they've been down this road before. There's Cargo. And if they wanted to make some kind of a blockbuster move, into short left, Crawford is there. Their 2 best pieces, Cargo and Tulowitzki, are damaged goods.
Chacin is down. They've had a lot of injuries and really have not figured out the formula of how to win here in Colorado of late. It's very frustrating for General Manager Dan O'Dowd to continue to try and build the roster, and you think you're moving in the right direction, then you get those big key injuries, especially from your foundational pieces.
Rutledge bounced to third in his first at-bat. Let's not forget Kadire missed 24 games with a shoulder. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Christian Bergman on the mound missed 50 games with a broken left hand on a comebacker.
Into center field, a base hit for Rutledge.
Rutledge continues hitting the Dodgers very well, coming into this series, batting .354 in his career versus the Dodgers, and adds another base hit.
And now Justin Morneau coming up. It was Morneau. Bounced into a fielder's choice in the first inning, and would eventually come around to score on the Kadire double.
Roberto Hernandez got to keep the ball down right here. Morneau hits him really well. A .344 clip over the course of his career, and he's got 4 home runs and only 32 at bats off of him. This is not a comfortable at bat for Roberto. Justin loves to see him on the mound.
The Rockies collectively in the course of Hernandez's career have hit .280 against him. Dodgers with a 3-game lead on the Giants, about ready to get underway in Arizona. Vogelsong and Miley there, and Mattingly with Hernandez tonight, Aaron tomorrow, and Frias on Wednesday afternoon. So Kershaw and Greinke held up their end of the bargain, and then Ryu unexpectedly comes out after 1 inning on Friday night, had the MRI today. Dr. Elatrage had a good look at the shoulder, and apparently it's the same old song that he's had to deal with. And then there's Kershaw. Kershaw's numbers are just off the charts. I mentioned it in the open. Yesterday, 2 runs and 7 hits, struck out 9, walked 1. His ERA went up and opposing batting average went up. And, you know, something we had talked about several weeks ago. slow chopper to second. There is one. And not in time at first. About whether or not, and we were just chatting about it conversationally on air. What about Kershaw?
I'm getting closer and closer to going to seeing him as the MVP. One is because there's not a position player right now that just stands out above the rest that says, well, hands down, it's this person that you can give it to.
Kadire to short will pick up the conversation when we go to the top half of the fourth, when Ramirez, Crawford, and Uribe will bat against Christian Bergman. We're tied at 2 after 3. All on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Subway. Get a great deal on this month's $6 footlong special, the Italian BMT, or the $3 Super 6-inch Select, the Sweet Onion Chicken Teriyaki. Subway, eat fresh. Tied at 2 as we head to the fourth. The Braves are hitting in the bottom of the 8th, and the Nationals are shutting them out 4-0. Giants and Diamondbacks just underway. The Giants failed to score in the top half of the first. We'll keep you up to date on both of those games as Hanley Ramirez will lead it off for the Dodgers in the fourth against Christian Bergman. Now we're talking about Kershaw, MVP. Cy Young, I think we can already award him that. Let's just set that one aside because this has been just another historic season for him. And just the whole notion, does a position player warrant, well, you can't get Cy Young, does a pitcher warrant the MVP?
Well, like I said, I usually don't give it to the pitcher. I wouldn't say that because I figure they have their own award, the Cy Young and the MVP, going to a position player, but there hasn't been really one that has stood out this year. And at the same time, I've heard Pedro Martinez. I had heard him talk few days ago, and he was talking about, I remember him in '99, and he didn't get the MVP because 2 guys didn't even put him on the ballot now. And the fact that you've already given one to Justin Verlander an MVP, so if that's the case and you're under the notion that pitchers can get that, well then I can see definitely give it to Clayton Kershaw. And also I remember that '99 season that Pedro had, and we wouldn't have been in the postseason had it not been for Pedro.
And then that goes to the question, would the Dodgers be in the postseason without Clayton Kershaw?
And I would say no.
I don't think they would be either. He's been the stopper. He's been the savior. He's been the constant of excellence. And they continue to just flourish when he's on the mound. And it's not because they're scoring him a lot of runs. He's just going out and dominating.
Kershaw at 19-3. And that is well hit to right center. And a lot of ground covered by Charlie Blackmon, robbing Ramirez of a base hit. Comparing Kershaw to Verlander, Kershaw's ERA is more than a half a run less than Verlander. And Clayton's probably got 3 more starts left in his arsenal. Probably get close to the strikeout number, but the strikeout to walk ratio is just out of this earth.
That's a very pretty graphic, and I like the statistics comparing to Justin.
Carl Crawford gives this one a poke. Crawford on his way to second. Crawford now on his way to third, and there will not be a play there. Not before Crawford arrives with his third 3-base hit of the year.
But for me, just to finish the thought on Clayton, you're comparing Clayton to other players that are playing this year, not to Justin Verlander's year or Pedro Martinez's year or the year that Don Mattingly didn't get the MVP and he was an everyday player with MVP-type stats. I really think that a regular player has to be undeserving of the MVP before the pitchers even come into the equation. And I think this year there really is not really a deserving positional player. And so all of a sudden you go, is there an unbelievably outstanding starting pitcher? Because you usually wouldn't even think about a relief pitcher. And there is, and off the charts.
Rockies bring the infield in for Uribe. Crawford with his 120th career 3-base hit.
And that's why I'm leaning more toward that, because of that fact, because of the point that just Earl said. And, one of the guys that was standing out for me, though, and unfortunately, we hear he's okay, but just that devastating blow to the face was Giancarlo Stanton and the year he had. And the reason I like what he's done is we talk so much about guys here in Colorado.
Uribe chops it to third. And Crawford can't go anywhere. There's 2 out.
Because there are guys who played here in Colorado that have put up unbelievable numbers and are often not considered for the MVP because they say, wow, he put those numbers up in Colorado.
Exactly.
We know that. Well, do you also give extra points to a guy like Giancarlo Stanton because he plays in a park that just seems like a graveyard out there and nothing gets at him, and he makes that place look small. So if he had played in another park, his numbers would be off the charts. So that would be my argument for him too, because he was having a tremendous year.
And part of the equation is how much does a given player contribute to a team's overall performance over the course of a season. There's one notable exception years ago, Andre Dawson with the Cubs, who was just lights out the best player in the league on a very bad team. Now in the case of Kershaw, he leads the league in pretty near everything. 1 loss record. Would probably overtake Strasburg for the strikeout leadership this year. He's got the ERA, opposing hitters' batting average, all the lowest. He's made 25 starts, and 6 of them, quarter of them, complete games.
I made the point earlier when we were looking at numbers. Has there ever been a guy with only 27 starts lead the league in wins? And he's going to have 27 starts and maybe win 21 games and lead the league in wins, lead the league in in ERA. 4th consecutive ERA title.
So the Cy Young is fairly well secured. And he, in his 25 starts, has given up 3 runs or fewer in 24 of them.
Well, I agree with all of you. I just don't understand, how do you get National League Player of the Week and your ERA goes up? Come on, really?
That is so weird.
There should be a recount on the vote. They should examine the voters.
Now they're going to intentionally walk Ellis to bring up Roberto Hernandez. That's the first walk given up by Bergman. So Kershaw yesterday gave up 2 runs and 7 hits, and his ERA went up to 1.7. And opposing hitters' batting average went from 188 to 190.
He's losing it.
Hernandez with first and third. And is sacrificed in his first at-bat. He has 4 hits in 45 at-bats this year.
Sure like to see himself help himself out here, especially after they intentionally walked to get to him. Just get a nice little poke to right field.
If Michael Kadire was any closer to the first baseman, Morneau, he could pick his pocket.
So even if he hits one to right field, he still might have a play at first base.
Gordon on deck with Crawford at third and Ellis at first. Well, so much for that. No runs, the triple for Crawford. 2 men left after 3.5. Dodgers and the Rockies are tied at 2. A bat for the Rockies in the bottom of the 4th. Just to finish up our thoughts on Cy Young and MVP. Well, there's certainly Dodger precedent. Great Don Newcomb in 1956, Koufax in 63, Bob Gibson with a 1.12 ERA in 1968. One other note about the MVP and the Cy Young Award. 1986, Roger Clemens went 24-4 with an ERA of 2.48. You know who finished second? Don Mattingly. Mattingly finished second in the MVP voting in 1986 to Clemens. Donnie Baseball that year hit 352, 31 home runs, 113 runs batted in, 53 doubles, 2 triples, and a .394 on base percentage, and he struck out just 35 times.
That flies right by our comment of there is no undeserving position player.
Crawford in left
deserving.
Tracks down Dickerson's.
Donnie Baseball sure was deserving that year.
I was talking to Donnie about that last night.
He was. Wow, those incredible numbers.
And because I asked him about, again, being a hitter, position player as opposed to a pitcher, and whether or not a pitcher deserves to be MVP. And I said, you know who finished second that year? And then I looked up his numbers, and they were staggering. You were close but no cigar too, weren't you, Nolan?
A couple times.
Come on.
What? One year I finished second.
To whom?
To Juan Gonzalez.
Okay. Willeen Rosario. No balls, 2 strikes.
And I forget where I finished. I think I finished in the top 4 or something like that a couple other times. That year I hit 357. Next year when I hit 372, I think. It was up there.
How depressing it must have been for the 1967 Los Angeles Dodgers to have Sandy Koufax go 27-9 with a 1.73, retire, That'd be like losing Clayton next year. And he just says, you know, I've had enough.
I'm good.
Well, Sandy did it because he had some advice that his elbow would never be able to do anything with his arm ever again, and that his elbow was in trouble.
Rosario on 1-2, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rosario a home run in his first at bat. We're tied at 2 with 1 out, nobody on in the 4th.
The Dodgers with Sandy in 1966, they lost the World Series. They won 95 games in the regular season. In 67, they were 8th place. They went from 95 wins down to 73 wins with the loss of Koufax.
3 balls and 2 strikes. It's been a rugged outing for Hernandez to this point.
Very erratic, and he's thrown a few of these, not all fastballs. He's thrown some changeups up and into righties where they've come out of his hand too early, and it's almost like his arm is late. He's got some good body mechanics, but the rhythm between his body and his arm, the timing's off.
And Rosario's 2 for 2. So again, 12 games remain for the Dodgers. Herron goes tomorrow. Frias on Wednesday. A couple of more starts for Greinke and Kershaw and Herron. And then now you're talking about down the stretch, Carlos Frias, a rookie, and Roberto Hernandez, who is struggling.
If things work out and the Dodgers continue to win each series and they nail down the division, they could rest Hyun-Jin Ryu till the 3rd game of the playoffs, and if he would be ready, if they wanted to give him that much rest, he could have almost 3 weeks off and really feel like he could be ready to go. So we're talking, Friday was when he gets shut down, and if you didn't bring him right back, if they could keep winning right now, they could gain some time on not pushing him and getting him stronger and getting the inflammation out of that shoulder. More than just getting it out, getting it ready to be able to pitch for the whole playoffs.
And Ryu has shown that he doesn't do bullpens. And each time he has come off the sidelines after a lengthy stay, whether it was the shoulder early in the year, the gluteus maximus later in the year, he just went out and started pitching again.
There was no downturn of velocity, and the pinpoint control was still there. It's just a matter of, is the body healthy enough and the shoulder healthy enough to function? Because once it can function, he has unbelievable eye-hand coordination and rhythm with his body to hit his spots and create velocity.
So Carlos Frias will go on Wednesday instead of Ryu, who will rejoin the club in Chicago on Thursday. But again, there has not been to this point a day circled on the calendar for the return of Ryu to the rotation. Rosario's stolen only 1 base all year. And Noah swings and misses. It's 0-2.
But the key to all that, as we're talking about, is first they have to get to the postseason.
Exactly.
And they're definitely in a good spot for it right now. But they still have to remain focused. And they've been saying all the right things and saying, hey, it's really just one game right now at a time that we have to really, and I know that's a bit cliche, but it's really the right way to look at things.
Well, it takes inside.
As a pitching coach, as a manager, as a general manager, as a training staff, you're going over all the scenarios. Well, if we stretch the lead to 5 games on the Giants and we can have some time, maybe we can push Ryu back. Even though he's ready to throw, maybe we can give him more time for less inflammation, more strength. The more rest we get him, maybe we get him farther. Well, if the lead starts to shrink and we really need him and he's able to throw, then we're going to have to run him out there.
Right.
If the lead stays the same, can we milk it for a few more days? And you run all those scenarios, and then you see what reality brings you. And then you make some decisions. Nothing sneaks up on you. You're always running the scenarios in your head.
And I'm sure they're probably also talking about that is if he is ready, if all that plays out. But do we want to see him before going into the postseason to make that decision?
I think there's enough confidence on the staff of what Ryu has done while he's had take a lot of rest to get healthy. That first outing back, he has been sharp, that they would have confidence to go with him.
Inoa lines up base hit into left field. 8 seasons in the Dodger organization. Rafael Inoa His first year with the Rockies, spent all of the year at AAA. So now Colorado's got first and second with one man out. And LeMahieu coming up. LeMahieu at triple in his first at bat. Tied at 2. The Rockies have out hit the Dodgers 6-5. Bergman, the pitcher, is on deck. High and inside.
There's another one of those pitches that we were talking about. And he's had some misfires right in that area, up and in on the right-handed batters.
Nothing has come easy for Hernandez tonight. The Rockies have had 2 runners out at the plate. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Paco Rodriguez. He's back from a sore back. Beginning to warm in the Dodger bullpen. Of course, the Dodgers have a long list of relief pitchers out there as Ellis tried to settle down the veteran Hernandez. Dodger bullpen in alphabetical order. Baez, Correa, Elbert, Garcia, Howell, Jansen, Lee, Perez, Rodriguez, Wilson, and Wright. Of course, it's well after the 1st of September as Hernandez misses high and inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Hernandez wants a new ball. Which is another one of those rules that nobody's ever made any real sense out of. You play one way for 5 months out of the year with 25 men on the roster. Then after the 1st of September. A 4-pitch walk, and now the Rockies have the bases loaded. You can beef up the roster up to 40 players. And here is Bergman, who didn't do too well on an attempted suicide squeeze in his last at bat. Now Honeycutt's going to go out and talk to Hernandez and invite Rodriguez had the same back shoulder issue that Kershaw had early in the year.
Paco is somebody who can come in and get some lefties out, get righties out. This could be a big situation for him.
Charlie Blackmon, left-handed hitter, is on deck. So it may be for Hernandez, this could be his last batter of the night.
When you got a dozen guys in the bullpen, you can play matchup even in the 4th inning.
Rosario, Inoa, and LeMahieu the runners. Nothing in 1.
And on defense, you'd have the corners in. So if they get a ground ball to them where they can get the runner out at home, and then you have the middle guys in double play depth for possible double play up the middle.
Bergman would end up flying to center in his first at bat after messing up on the suicide squeeze. Now Hernandez ahead, nothing in 2.
This could be Roberto Hernandez's last batter, even if he gets Bergman out. With the lefty on deck, and plenty of other arms in the Dodger bullpen, you wouldn't be worried about burning Paco to get out of this inning, especially with bases loaded, 2 outs.
If Paco were to be used, there's still Howell and Elbert, left-sided relievers. Well, there's a big strikeout, the first of the game for Hernandez. Now there's 2 out. And will he stay or will he go? Mattingly is going to stay with him.
That's a tough decision for Don Mattingly. One, it's loyalty to Roberto Hernandez, and he feels like he can get him out. 2, for me, it's a hard decision because the home run ball that Roberto Hernandez has been giving up, it could cost you 4.
And so he is going with Paco Rodriguez to face Charlie Blackmon. It's been quite an adventure for Hernandez tonight. Dodgers still in the game, tied at 2 with the bases loaded and 2 out in the bottom half of the 4th. While we go behind the scenes with the clubhouse staff, Mitch Poole and the crew, as they handle the recent roster changes. Let's join us as retired Marine and comedian Rob Riggle is honored as the veteran of the game at Dodger Stadium. Don't miss the new episode of Backstage Dodgers Thursday at 9 o'clock right here on Sportsnet LA. Another tough night at the office for Roberto Hernandez. 59 pitches, 37 for strikes, failed to finish the 4th and leaves the bases loaded for Paco Rodriguez. Paco just off the DL. As you mentioned, he had that same back shoulder issue that infirmed Clayton Kershaw for 5 starts early in the year, but Paco is feeling fine and ready to go, and boy, he's being thrown into the deep end of the pool right away.
He's had some good days up here and really come into some big situations and bailed the Dodgers out, but now coming off the DL and coming right into this fire. But Don Mattingly showing an awful lot of confidence in Paco Rodriguez with the depth of the rosters now, being able to go match up left on left situation here in the 4th.
And Charlie Blackmon, who's walked and flied to left. Paco at his best is a real nuisance to left-handed hitters. And Blackmon this year hitting .266 against lefties. Bases loaded, tied at 2, bottom half of the 4th. One ball and no strikes.
Don Mattingly just had to make the move and get Roberto Hernandez out of there, with Roberto having trouble with the home run ball, and you've got the expanded roster. It is not about getting innings out of your starter. It's about getting quality people and getting outs.
2 balls and no strikes. Dodgers had a 2-0 lead in the first inning on a 2-run home run by Matt Kemp. But Colorado with a run in the first, a run in the second, trying to break the tie in the bottom of the fourth. Two balls and a strike.
Strength on strength. Paco Rodriguez saying 2-0, and you got to just say, here, hit it. He went with fastball right down Broadway. Unfortunately, Blackman missed it.
Well, you mentioned, you have to bring in Paco in that situation, especially Charlie reading off the list of those guys in the bullpen. But if you're able to get out of this inning, it might be able to get a little momentum back on the Dodgers side to come in there and get to swinging.
The shortstop, Rodriguez, gets out of the inning. Ramirez jogs to the bag. And the Dodgers can breathe a sigh of relief as the Rockies leave 3. Top of the order for the Dodgers in the 5th, tied at 2.
Rodriguez and the Los Angeles Dodgers getting out of a big jam in the bottom of the 4th to keep it tied 2-2 as we make our way to the top of the 5th inning. A little bit about the Colorado Rockies third baseman, Gold Glove third baseman Nolan Arenado, not in the starting lineup tonight for the Rockies because he's dealing with a chest contusion that he suffered earlier this week in New York in the series against the Mets. Rafael Inoa here for the Colorado Rockies starting at third base, and as Charlie mentioned earlier, he was in the Dodgers organization. Now, he recently made his major league debut at the age of 27, but he was originally signed by LA in 2005, got as high as AA last season. The Rockies signed him last November, a light-hitting infielder and a switch hitter, taking the spot tonight for third baseman Nolan Arenado, guys.
So Arenado out, chest contusion, which is a nice way of saying bruised ribs.
Well, gets it from he's a Gold Glove third baseman. He dives, makes great plays over there, and got it, making another one.
A rookie winning the Gold Glove last year.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often. So that's a big loss. Another big loss for the Rockies. We're tied at 2 as we begin the 5th, and D. Gordon takes high and inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Gordon lined to short in his first at-bat, struck out swinging in his second.
D not a rookie, Charlie, but he's got a chance to win a Gold Glove at second base for his first year there.
Fouls it back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Diamondbacks hitting in the bottom of the 2nd, no score with the Giants. Washington trying to close out the Braves in the 9th, 4-1 in Atlanta. Into short right, LeMahieu out, and it's going to drop in front of Kadire, and Gordon will go to second. A little parachute job into short right field behind LeMahieu in front of Kadire, and Gordon is aboard at second.
That's what I love about D. He didn't assume anything here. You know, he's upset with himself that he popped up, but then he's just going out there. He's running, and that speed, able to get all the way to second base. Just didn't assume that it was going to be out.
And that will bring up Puig, who has singled, scored a run, stolen a base. He's also bounced back to the box. And for D. Gordon, his 21st two-base hit. So Puig ideally would like to get Gordon at least to third. Over the right side of the diamond. 1 ball, no strikes to Yasiel Puig. Gordon is 9th in the National League, having scored 84 runs this year. Leads the Dodgers in that category.
Coming in, and these are one of those at bats that we were talking about earlier about Yasiel when he was reaching for that ball in the outer half. How his front shoulder's flying open a little bit too quickly, and you know, I know for myself, when I'd have that issue, sometimes I'd fly open too soon. I really loved coming up in this situation, man on second, nobody out, because it really forced me to try to stay in and try to go the other way, to try to feel that good habit I want to get to carry over to other at-bats and hopefully get a hit out of this. At the worst case, move them over and get them to third base with less than 2 outs.
But now Puig in a hole, 1-2.
Did you find you disagree with the umpire a lot more on balls and strikes when you were in a slump?
Yes, no question.
Because you're probably not seeing the balls well.
Right. They're always that, like they always seem to be on the corner. You find yourself down 1 or 2 and 0-2 so much.
That's going to be plenty deep enough for Gordon to tag as Blackman on the warning track makes the catch. D goes to third. The lead run 90 feet away with 1 out, and Adrian Gonzalez coming up.
And that was a little better. He stayed on that one. I mean, that was an off speed on the outer half, and he stayed on that one a lot better than his last at bat. And like I said, here's that one. That was the one that he missed his at bat before. But it was much better to carry over at least a good result. He moved him over to third base. But like I said, if he can just get that feeling on that one, says, okay, I was able to stay in just a little bit longer. And if I get that pitch that gets more of the plate, my next at-bat, I'll be able to drive that better.
Now the Rockies have the infield in with Adrian Gonzalez with 103 RBIs. Fouls it back. It's 0-1. We also mentioned earlier, Adrian Gonzalez leads the league with 11 sacrifice flies. So talk about situational hitting. He has been among the best ever since he's been here. Washington has just beaten the Braves 4-2. Strasburg wins his 12th. Santana takes the loss. Washington at the moment a game in front of the Dodgers for best record in the National League. And there's a line drive base hit into the right field corner. Gonzalez delivers. Gordon comes in to score for Adrian Gonzalez, his 38th two-base hit and his 104th run batted in.
We talk about the adjustments he makes. He was looking for a pitch up in the zone. You know why? Because he struck out twice, his 2 at-bats before, on those same pitches on the third strike, swinging through it. He'd fouled off a pitch up in the zone the pitch before that. He was making adjustments, gets another one up in the zone. Wasn't going to let him go by him on this, especially with a runner in scoring position at third base. He comes up big.
Now 104 RBIs for Gonzalez, 1 behind Giancarlo Stanton. And Matt Kemp coming up. Kemp, a 2-run home run in his first at-bat. He's also been struck out. Dodgers with the lead. And so if nothing else, Roberto Hernandez can breathe a sigh of relief. Another tough outing for Hernandez. Paco Rodriguez for the moment becomes the pitcher of record. Hanley Ramirez on deck. Kemp swings and misses. It's 1-1.
And I want to go back to that at bat by Yasiel, why that was a big at bat to move him over, because that changes your at bat for Adrian Gonzalez, because now he goes, okay, it's a sacrifice fly. I'm looking for the pitch up, recognizing that it's also the pitch that I've been missing, so I got to make the adjustment as compared to just having the runner on second base.
1-1 to Kemp. To short. Gonzalez retreats to second, 2 out. And that'll bring up Hanley Ramirez, who has singled in 2 at-bats. Oral, what's your assessment of Christian Bergman? First time we've seen him.
I kind of like it. I mean, we're here in Colorado where the ball is a tough time to get it to move a little bit, and he's got good movement in both directions. He seems to have a very good feel for pitching. And I think he has a spirit about him where he is not going to give up. He seems to have some tenacity. I think he's got a bright future.
6 strikeouts and a walk. Dodgers lead 3-2, 2 out here in the 5th. So Hanley Ramirez looking to get the Dodgers some insurance. Jamie Wright is warming in the Dodger pen. It will be by committee down the stretch in this game. Low and outside. Ramirez a 4-hit game over the weekend in San Francisco. It was his second 4-hit game in the previous 6. 2 balls and no strikes. Gonzalez leads from second. The Dodgers lead by 1. 3-0.
He's starting to look better at the plate, Nomar. Hanley's looking like he's seeing the ball to the pitcher's hand better. He's got better timing and rhythm.
And definitely would have the green light. 3-0.
And with his base hit in the first, a modest 5-game hitting streak. Oh, he fouls off the 3-0 pitch. Ramirez is 8 for his last 15. Carl Crawford on deck. So Ramirez with 13 home runs and 68 runs batted in. At 277. Bergman down 3-0 has gotten back to a full count.
We were just saying he looks better out there. And he takes those 2 big swings right there where he was just trying to hit it way too far rather than just relying that he's been having some good approaches at the plate and trusting that he has plenty of power to knock it out.
He's almost better when he's in a non-hitter's count. Stays a little more compact.
3-2 to Hanley Ramirez. Gonzalez the lead at second. And we'll do it again. No score in Arizona. Giants hitting in the top of the 3rd. Again, just talking about the letdown we were talking about earlier in the game. Just comparing the electricity inside Coors Field as compared to what the Dodgers and Giants went through at AT&T Park. It's a totally different feel. Down goes Ramirez, who had a 3-0 count and couldn't do anything with it. But Adrian Gonzalez delivers D. Gordon with a double into the right field corner for Gonzalez. His 104th RBI has given the Dodgers a 1-run lead. Dodgers will battle their arch rival, the Giants, next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Tuesday, September 23rd, be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance at Dodger Stadium, and you'll take home a sleeve blanket presented by your SoCal Honda dealers. For tickets to the game and all games in the rivalry series, visit Dodgers.com/tickets. So here's Jamie Wright, who came up as a Rocky. In fact, his picture and jersey just outside in the hallway along Broadcast Road. Making his 57th appearance, a .388 earned run average. And on Christmas Eve, Jamie Wright will turn 40. So Paco Rodriguez, at the moment, the pitcher of record for the Dodgers, retiring Charlie Blackmon with the bases loaded, 2 out. Faced one batter. Got out of the jam. Rutledge leads off for the Rockies in the 5th, and Wright's first pitch is inside. Jamie Wright, to say he is much traveled is not even being quite accurate. Turned pro in '93 and pitched for the Rockies and the Brewers, the Royals, back to the Rockies, to the Giants and the Rangers and the Royals, the Indians, the Mariners, the Dodgers, the Rays, and back to the Dodgers. A 1-1 to Rutledge. Low and outside.
He's been in 56 games. This is his 57th game for the Dodgers this year, and he's been the jack of all trades, master of all. He's really done a great job no matter what role he's been asked to fill, whether it's a long man cleaning up a mess, whether it's been in the 8th or 7th inning pitching with a lead. And he has been a very mature and solid citizen for the bullpen.
Into short center, out goes Gordon. It's the first out of the 5th inning. As the games wear down to a precious few, you play inning by inning. This isn't the middle of May. Time is running out after today. 12 games remain. Final 6 at home with the Giants, and the Dodgers will finish off with the Rockies. But between now and then, 2 more here and 4 with the Cubs at Wrigley Field.
Baseball is a pastime and a joy that is brought to everyone who follows it. But when we get to September as players, this is the fun part for the players. That inning by inning, that moment by moment pressure that you just live for.
Morneau 0 for 2, takes a strike. It's 1-1.
The grind is over. It's about the moments now, and being prepared for every moment and trying to capitalize on every edge that you know from your knowledge of the game to win the moment.
And that's what makes it so tough for a team like the Rockies or whomever, Arizona, where there really is not a whole lot to play for other than, okay, we got 3.5 hours to do the best we can. Coming back again tomorrow and look ahead to next year. Here's a 2-1. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Justin Morneau.
You don't know what to expect out of the Rockies. Some guys are playing to build a reputation, to earn a job for next year or playing time, and in the eyes of their manager and their general manager. And you don't expect out of Walt Weiss. You see a squeeze earlier in this game, with the pitcher up. And you'd think, he ended up hitting a fly ball to deep enough center field. There would have been a sac fly, but they went with the squeeze just to see what they could do. Almost a development situation.
The 2-2 to Morneau. Into left field, a base hit. A 1-out single for Justin Morneau. So in some ways, a team that's out of it like the Rockies or Arizona, they're working a game almost as if it's a spring training game.
Sometimes the guys that get into the lineup or the situations are kind of like that.
They are the same guys that you're talking about at spring training. You're like, oh, I remember seeing him at spring training. Here he is. Same
now
thing.
Let's see what
same
he can
fit,
do.
right.
And they're playing out the string, but they're playing out the string doesn't necessarily make them an easy opponent. They can be very dangerous because there is no pressure.
Michael Kadire. Chopped to second. Gordon looks to second, takes the sure out, 2 gone. Morneau is safe at second base, and it'll bring up Corey Dickerson.
The San Francisco Giants have to battle the San Diego Padres for 7 games down the stretch here as they try to catch the Dodgers, and that's not going to be any easy task with that great pitching in San Diego. They're going to face a lot of flamethrowers and a lot of guys with great breaking balls.
Well, that's the biggest difference between the Giants and the Dodgers down the stretch. 4 with the Padres for San Francisco, and the Dodgers have 4 with the Cubs. The Giants have just 4 games left with the Padres at home. They play 3 down there. So 7 of their remaining 13, including tonight against San Diego. One ball and no strikes to Corey Dickerson, who's flied to center and flied to left. The D-backs are hitting in the bottom of the 3rd, scoreless with the Giants at Chase Field. Vogelsong and Miley, the pitchers there. One ball, 1 strike. You were talking about the Dodgers and the letdown coming here to Colorado. One can only imagine what the Giants are thinking after having lost 2 of 3 to the Dodgers there and going to Arizona. Obviously a greater sense of urgency for San Francisco. And the 1-1 into center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit, and Morneau is going to come around to score. An RBI single for Corey Dickerson, and the Rockies have tied it at 3.
Well, Corey Dickerson does a good job staying inside this ball. That's where lefties like the ball, down and in. That's where he stays on it. Gets it slightly off the end of the bat there, but definitely enough to drop in for an RBI base hit.
And here's Willen Rosario, who was sorry to see Roberto Hernandez go. He homered in his first at-bat against Roberto and then singled to center. A 3-3 tie, and Rosario takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
It's tough enough to pitch in Coors Field. It's really tough when you throw strikes and they get called ball. That last pitch was right there.
Hunter Wendelstedt calling balls and strikes tonight. There's a strike. 1-1. So Rosario with the home run, his 11th of the year. Hit 21 last year and 28 the year before. Toss over.
You know, Charlie, you've mentioned the letdown possibility coming out of the San Francisco series, and at the beginning of the game, Matt Kemp hits the home run. And you go, okay, there's no letdown. But then Roberto comes out and he gives up a run, and all of a sudden the Rockies are right back in it, and it looks like, okay, now what happens at the end of this game is, do you have the emotional energy to concentrate and fight? When it's not supposed to be a fight against this opponent, do you have the fortitude to still fight? And that's what the Dodgers are going to have to reach down in their bellies tonight and do, because this ballpark will come back and beat you up, and so will these Rockies sometimes.
The 1-1. High in the air to left. Crawford is there. That'll end the inning, but a 2-out single for Corey Dickerson, driving home Justin Morneau. The Rockies have pulled even with the Dodgers as we head to the 6th. We'll take a look first at the Dodger calendar presented by 76. Back with you tomorrow at 5:30 when Dan Herron and Tyler Matzik will have at it. On Wednesday, an early start. Carlos Frias, Jorge De La Rosa, and then a 4-game weekend series with the Cubs at Wrigley Field. So as you mentioned, Oral, the Dodgers now in more of a fight than they'd like to be. Giants are scoreless in Arizona in the third. The Dodger lead is 3. And again, the Dodgers looking for an energy jolt.
You know, Nomar has lived this with me, and you look up and down the bench when you're on the bench, sometimes in between innings or during a rally or during a tough time, and you see guys looking on the field and concentrating and talking to each other about the situations. You can't take a breath. You can't take a breath. You still have to maintain that same energy like it is the Giants, and you are in San Francisco.
And yet it's hard. And it's hard. And I'll tell you the other thing, when you come here, because you know it's also going to be a long game. Usually, you know that coming in. You know that it's usually a game where there's runs that are going to be put up. You know there's going to be guys on base. You know you're going to be out there on the defense for a while, which that in itself, your legs out there takes something out of you. So it's zapping your energy because you don't really have those quick innings.
Crawford a triple in 2 at-bats. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
And that goes back to why John Manley was talking about how starting pitching or whoever it is in the pitcher can actually set the tone and help that out to get them to have those quick innings, to get back in the dugout.
2-1. Uribe on deck and A.J. Ellis to follow. The Rockies beat the Dodgers last year in the season series, 10-9. The Dodgers 9-4 this year against the Rockies. Crawford comes up empty and has to pick up his hat. Crawford with his triple in his last at-bat extends his hitting streak to 6 games. And since August the 10th, hitting .430, now he gets hit by a pitch. The lefty Rex Brothers now warming in the Colorado bullpen.
Grind it out. Get the leadoff hitter on. Bottom of the order. Grind it out right here. Want to rebake. Shoot the gap over here on the right side with a man on first. He loves to take the ball the opposite field. A.J. Ellis, and then you probably could have a pinch hitter for Jamie Wright. So you really are not at the complete bottom of your order. You could have some more offense.
Let's see if Carl also has a read at all on the pitcher, just thinking if he can get a jump and possibly steal the bag.
Rosario's only thrown out 6 would-be base stealers all year. About 16%, 6 out of 37.
And Carl took off right there, kind of motioned as if he was going to steal the bag and realized he didn't get the jump he liked, so he stayed there.
Crawford has stolen 22 out of 28. 3-3, top of the 6th.
He's getting a nice lead there. That was about a quarter step bigger than a normal lead.
Crawford is 10th in the league with his 22 stolen bases. And the Rockies are certainly concentrating on Crawford and his legs. One ball and no strikes. Uribe into left field for a base hit. Well, Dodger fans can send a fruit basket to Mark Trumbo and his family. Just hit a grand slam. A Brian Vogel song, and the Diamondbacks have a 4-0 lead. And Jim Wright, pitching coach, is going to go out and talk with young Mr. Bergman.
Yeah, they probably might also want to talk about the defense, looking for possible bump by A.J. Ellis, and also since you have Justin Turner also coming in and standing on the on-deck circle.
And Turner's just had a sensationally clutch year. Baez warming in the bullpen. Turner in the on-deck circle. As Ellis awaits the end of the conference out on the hill. There's Rex Brothers, the Colorado lefty. So Bergman at 95 pitches. First time the Dodgers have seen him, and to this point he has surrendered 3 runs and 8 hits. But the Dodgers have a rally going here in the 6th. Ellis has flied to center. He's been intentionally walked. So the D-backs with a 4-0 lead. Giants about ready to go to work in the top of the 4th. So Crawford the lead run, good speed at second base. Uribe the lead off first. Ellis takes outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Ellis looking down at third base coach Lorenzo Bundy.
Ellis does have 3 sack bunts so far this year. Something to give thought to, especially getting 2 guys in scoring position and a guy who's also susceptible to a double play.
And that 4 spot that went up for the Arizona Diamondbacks, that is being stared at by the Dodger bench, because the right field scoreboard here is right directly in front of them. And there's the 4 under Arizona there in the second column.
36 is Miley, 32 is Vogelsong, and the Diamondbacks with a 4-0 lead.
Scoreboard watching very easy here.
1 ball, no strikes. Ellis drives a base hit into left field. Crawford will be held at third, and the Dodgers have the bases loaded and nobody out.
One of the best hitters in baseball with runners in scoring position coming to the plate. AJ coming out of his slump, making a lot better swings, and we saw some earlier at bat tonight. He's missing some mistakes, but right here he doesn't miss that one. Low in sinker that he gets down underneath, hits a line drive.
The end of the line for Christian Bergman. Rex Brothers will come in. Walt Weiss getting the young rookie out of Cal Irvine and Glendale. His night is done, and perhaps the Dodgers' night is just beginning. Bases loaded, 6th inning, tied at 3. Turner to pinch hit against Brothers when we come back. His 69th appearance, an ERA of over 5.5, and opposing hitters hitting .276 against him. From the Dodger point of view, some good news and some bad news. Good news is Justin Turner, who's pinch hitting, is batting .411 this year with runners in scoring position, by far the highest total on the Dodger team. The bad news is the Dodgers has a squad are hitting 168 with the bases loaded this year. So them's the numbers, and here's the situation. A 3-3 tie, top half of the sixth, nobody out. Crawford at third, Uribe at second, Ellis at first. The Diamondbacks have just taken a 4-0 lead. The Giants are hitting in the top half of the fourth in Arizona. Mattingly working over the chewing gum. Gordon on deck, Puig to follow. Brothers on in relief of Bergman. Into right field, and that's going to be trouble. That's going to roll to the wall. Here comes Crawford. Here comes Uribe. Ellis will be held at third, and Justin Turner continues his relentless clutch hitting this year. A 2-run double to right. The Dodgers take a 5-3 lead.
Justin Turner just makes me smile. I mean, how do you not have just the biggest smile? Because he just keeps coming through time and time again all year long, coming off of the bench. First pitch, going the other way, driving in the runs. I mean, whatever's asked of him. Coming in, defense, filling in for injured players.
What a job he's done this year.
It's just been incredible.
Replacing Uribe when he was hurt. Good reason Justin Turner's got a big smile. The Rockies have to bring the infield in. D. Gordon. Browns one into left field for a base hit. Ellis comes in to score. Turner will be held at third. Gordon knocks in a run, and the Dodgers lead 6-3. D. Gordon's 32nd run batted into the year.
2 pitches, 3 runs, more runners. D. Gordon really duplicating his first at bat when he lined out the short, staying inside the ball and driving it the opposite way. This one hits it a little lower and finds a hole.
And Walt Weiss has seen enough of Rex Brothers. 2 pitches too many. Yasiel Puig will be coming up, with the Dodgers having scored 3. In the last 10 minutes, the Dodgers went from a lot that had no energy to a team now with a 3-run lead, and watching Arizona with a 4-run lead on the Giants. Hasn't been a bad 15 minutes for the Dodgers. On Sportsnet LA is brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import. Earl, you were talking before about this time of year and how everything is so finite from one inning to the next, one pitch to the next. Again, 15 minutes ago, as we're saying, going to break, Dodgers are kind of lethargic, kind of lulled into the lack of energy inside this building. Now all of a sudden they come up with 3, and there is still nobody out here in the 6th. All the while Trumbo hits a grand slam in Arizona.
Yeah, it is really turns really quick, turns on a dime, and it's a lot of fun. The emotions of those moments are why you play, and the payoff for all the time you put in.
First and third, still nobody out. 3 and 6-3 Dodgers. There goes Gordon with an easy stolen base, his 62nd of the year. 1 ball and no strikes to Puig.
It's a good time to steal a base. Got the reliever coming in, probably really focused on the batter, especially with a runner in scoring position. And he just gets a tremendous jump and easy stolen base.
Now the Rockies are forced to bring the infield in for Puig, who's 1 for 3 and a run scored tonight. And it's low and outside.
As we watch this inning unfold, you know, Walt Weiss is not managing just to play out the string. He's brought in Rex Brothers, only there for 2 pitches. He didn't do his job. Now he brings in Nick Massett. And they are playing and keeping the integrity of the season together, not bringing in their kids. And they're trying to win the game just as much to protect San Francisco and make it a tough challenge on the Dodgers, even though the Dodgers are on top.
2-0 to Puig. Grounded slowly foul right into the awaiting hands of Lorenzo Bundy.
There's no rules, but there's kind of unwritten rules between managers that if you're playing a contending team and there's still something at stake, the team that's playing out the string should put out their best bodies and their best players, and they should play and not just be resting people.
For the Dodgers, their 150th game of the season, and for the 60th time they've had at least 10 base hits. They've got 11 now, and Puig with runners at second and third, the 2-1, 3-1. The Dodgers can ill afford to take their foot off the accelerator. They've got a team that has lost 90 games this year on the ropes.
And Arl, to the point you were talking about going out there, I look at this lineup. You see Morneau out there. You see Kadire out there. And Morneau especially, because he's also been dealing with some back issues. But he's out there. He's playing. And not taking that day because, as you said, you know, you're going against the Dodgers or contending for a playoff spot.
3-1 to Puig. That will load the bases. Still nobody out. So D. Gordon leads the majors with 62 stolen bases. Alana?
Check out this graphic. Impressive numbers, impressive company for D. Gordon. 60-plus stolen bases in a single season. You just mentioned that Gordon picked up his 62nd. Uncle Maury on the list, as you guys might expect. 1962 and 65. Our own first base coach, Davey Lopes. Juan Pierre, a fan favorite, has been all over the league. And Davey Lopes again in 1976. 63 stolen bags. D. Gordon right there still, guys, with 13 more games to go.
And D. Gordon has more stolen bases than the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Marlins, and the Cubs.
Needs about just over 20 more to catch Maury. I think he can do it.
At 80, few people can catch Maury.
At 4 a game, he'd have a chance.
Now here's Adrian Gonzalez with the bases loaded, and the Dodgers with a glorious opportunity to blow this game wide open. Gonzalez doubled in a run in his last at-bat. 1 for 3, drills a line drive into right field for a hit. Turner scores, and Gordon scores. 2 more RBIs for Adrian Gonzalez, who's taken over the National League lead in runs batted in. And the Dodgers with 4 here in the 6th lead at 7-3.
I tell you what, Nomar, we've been watching the statistics of Matt Kemp kind of blossom since the All-Star break, but there's this guy at the plate who's quietly really outperformed him.
You're right, and since we looked up the numbers, and Matt Kemp, we talked about him batting .307 since the All-Star break, and it's just been tremendous and outstanding. But Adrian Gonzalez actually since then is batting .326. He has about 3 more RBIs than Matt Kemp. He actually has almost about the same amount of extra base hits as Matt Kemp. So both of these guys, and that's nothing to take them, both of these guys have been huge for the Dodgers, especially second half and down the stretch and in September, because this guy up at the plate has been clutch.
Kemp swings and misses, 0-1. The lead is now 8-3. Kemp, a 2-run home run. Well, it took a while for the Dodgers offense to wake up tonight. Of course, Kemp hit the 2-run home run in the first, and then they hit the snooze alarm until the 5th when they scored 1 and 5 more here in the 6th, and there is still nobody out. For Kemp, his 21st home run of the year. And that would be the Arco top-tier play of the game. The Dodgers took a 2-0 lead, but the Rockies a run in the first, a run in the second. Dodgers would regain the lead in the 5th. Colorado would tie it in the bottom of the 5th, and the Dodgers with 5 here in the 6th.
And this is where you might see a few more smiles on the Dodger bench. Coming out of the San Francisco series, now the offense explodes, getting near the end of this game, and no outs here in this situation. One of your hottest hitters at the plate. He gets a hit here. Matt drives in some runs. You might see some big smiles and big pats on the back.
So Adrian Gonzalez now leads the National League in runs batted in with 105. 1-2 to Kemp.
That's one of those pitches as a hitter you're going, okay, I got fooled on that curveball. I was thinking it was coming in, and you're going, okay, if I'm not pulling out, I'm going to stay in there, and if he throws that again, I'm going to drive it.
2-2. The 3 RBIs for Adrian Gonzalez. Now he has 106. Either way, he's the league leader. Of course, Giancarlo Stanton, his race has been run. 2-2 to Kemp. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Handler Ramirez on deck. He'll be the 9th batter of the inning. Nick Massett is the 3rd pitcher of the inning. Three balls and 2 strikes. Still nobody out. Runners stay put, and Kemp stays alive.
Adrian's career high for him is 119. 2008 when he was with San Diego. He's got a shot to surpass that if he stays hot. A couple of sweet swinging lefties down there at first, chatting it up.
On 3-2. Swung on and missed strike 3. Kemp down on strikes. First out of the 6th. Now Handler Ramirez is 1 for 3 and the 9th batter of the 6th inning.
Adrian Gonzalez leading the league in RBIs, and Justin Morneau battling out for a batting title down there, really chatting up some hitting or something.
Talking about good places to eat in Colorado.
Try the Buffalo, you'll love it. Ramirez with the bases loaded. Into right center field for a base hit. Puig is in. Gonzalez will be held at 3rd as Ramirez arrives at 2nd with a double, and the Dodger lead now is 10-3.
He's a lot better hitter when he goes to right field.
We were talking about that in his last at bat when he had 3-0 and then he got really big, and here he doesn't get big. He stays on the ball and just drives it to right center. I mean, he has plenty of power. We know that. You know, Hanley can drive the ball to all fields. He can drive it out to right center. He can drive it to right field. Sometimes he gets a little, he sees the ball so well, he gets really big, really anxious, and really tries to hit it over 500 feet. And that was just a really good at bat right there.
And a milestone double for Ramirez. Crawford began the inning being hit by a pitch and takes a strike. It's 0-1. And once again, the Rockies have to bring the infield in. Dodger lead 9-3. So you want to say the route is on, but at this place, the route is on with an asterisk.
I remember managers always telling me coming here that, listen, even if we have a 10-run lead, even if it feels like we're in control, I am not, you know, at times when you're playing a lot, they're like, okay, this one we're going to maybe make substitutions. They would say, I'm keeping you in there all 9, no matter what the lead is. Prepare yourself, because they don't ever feel comfortable with any lead here.
And that is why Jim Leyland managed here for exactly 1 year. Couldn't take it. Here's the 0-2. Crawford takes inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I remember him telling me the year after he resigned, retired, quit, walked out, said, I've never walked out on anything in my life, but this is an impossible place for me to do my job as a manager. How long do you stay with a pitcher? What score is a safe score? You sacrifice early, late. Here's the 1-2. Crawford stays alive.
Well, you really can't call off the dogs. You've just got to keep playing the game until it's over.
And this is one place where even opposing managers come in, and both managers, where, you know, those unwritten rules, like, okay, do I keep sending them in at third? Do I steal base? Whatever it may be, you just don't know what that lead is here.
Yep. Crawford denied a triple hit by a pitch and a run scored. Still 1 man out, 6 in the 6th, 9-3 Dodgers. And Crawford into left field. Dickerson retreating. He'll make the catch. Tagging and scoring is Gonzalez. The 7th run of the 6th inning, and now it is 10-3. Uribe coming up as Ramirez holds at second base. Uribe 2 for 3. So the Dodgers tonight, 10 runs and 13 hits. Yesterday, 4 runs and 9 hits. Saturday night, the massacre in San Francisco, 17 runs, 24 hits. A 3-hit shutout by Bumgarner on Friday. And then against the Padres, 4 runs, 12 hits, 3 runs, 11 hits. And Uribe with a fly ball to center field and deep. And that is off the base of the wall. In to score is Ramirez. Uribe arrives at second base. And the Dodgers now lead it 11-3. Uribe's 3rd hit of the night.
This is the best the Dodger offense has looked all year, where guys go up there and have quality at bats, guys get on base, and it's not just as Colorado. Through the San Francisco series, they had an awful lot of good at bats after Game 1.
They've been on fire against everybody except Bumgarner.
And he was the pitcher of the month in the National League with a 1.57 ERA. Had started September very hot, and he can shut you down, but nobody else has since him. And before him, they look pretty good.
Ellis's second at bat of the 6th. He singled to left. Seven hits in the inning. 8 runs. Ellis with a ground ball backhanded at third by Anoa. Throws at Ellis, and at long last, the 6th inning comes to an end. Dodger fans are cheering. Rockies fans are Bronx cheering. 11-3. It's the most runs they've scored in an inning this year. Scored 6 in Arizona about 3 weeks ago, where the Diamondbacks have a 4-0 lead over the Giants in the 5th inning, as Pedro Baez now on in relief. And the Dodgers can breathe a sigh of relief with quite an outburst in the top half of the 6th inning. 8 runs and 7 base hits. And Baez has really been a pleasant surprise. A year and a half ago, he's a third baseman who couldn't hit. And now the Dodgers are using him. Granted, this is not a high-stress situation with an 8-run lead. But more and more, Mattingly is going with Baez when the games have been on the line.
Pardon the pun, but he is making a pitch for the playoff roster. This is a big arm that can come in and get some strikeouts. He's shown that he can throw strikes, and the more responsibility he has been given, he has not melted down under the pressure. So he continues to build his resume and to build his case for being a part of this team.
And a change defensively for the Dodgers at shortstop. It'll be Miguel Rojas taking over for Hanley Ramirez. And so the Dodgers 11-3 with 14 base hits. So Jamie Wright works an inning, gives up a run and 2 base hits. Meanwhile, Paco Rodriguez threw 4 pitches and he's in line for the win. Life's good.
Be right up there with Phil Regan when he was nicknamed the Vulture.
Mm-hmm. Picking up wins like scraps in the desert.
Like meat off carcasses.
2 balls and no strikes to Rafael Inoa. There's Baez. Well, you don't hit too well, but you got a great arm. You might want to think about a career change, and that's what Baez and the Dodgers came to, and it has paid off handsomely. Baez and Frias coming up from the minor leagues this year, as Withrow and Dominguez did last year. 2 balls and no strikes. There's a strike, 2-1.
You know, Charlie, our description of the Vulture might be wrong because the Rockies came back and tied it up before we got the 8. So it might be Jamie Wright in line, even though he gave up that run. The official scorer will make that call.
You're right.
We're right about right.
And I was wrong.
It's okay.
Uribe 1 out.
Nomar, anytime you want to
I
chime
was just
in.
about to say, it really doesn't matter who gets it. All that matters is if they get the W, really. I mean, that's all that really matters at this stage.
Why don't you give us a few more cliches?
That's what I'm here for.
We've missed you. LeMahieu has a triple and a walk tonight. One out in the bottom half of the sixth. Baez delivers a strike at 96. A fellow named Kyle Parker is in the on-deck circle for Colorado. First time we're laying eyes on him.
Are we talking about the integrity of a opposing manager that's playing out the string compared to playing a contender? When the game does get out of line, this is when you'll see the kids come in, and it'll feel like an extended spring game, because all of a sudden Walt Weiss did play that inning at the highest level, bring in Brothers, bring in Massett. But then as soon as it got away and the game has started to spin away, now it's like, all right, I'm going to get some of my kids some at-bats, see some guys, and start to think about the Colorado Rocky organization, not the National League West.
He's thinking in the back of his head, what else am I going to do? And that's what's so hard when a team like the Rockies, here are the Dodgers, have been hot. Offensively, they've been on fire. And that's when the countdown is on. They've gone to the sixth in Arizona. A Trumbo grand slam is the difference. The Diamondbacks with a 4-0 lead. If that score holds up as this one does here, the Dodgers will end the night with a 4-game lead with 12 to play. At a magic number, they'll be down to 9. Two balls and 2 strikes in and out in the bottom of the sixth. Baez is the 4th Dodger pitcher of the night. Hernandez struggled again. It's been the Dodgers offense that has carried the day today.
Not the kind of ballpark you want to be taken out of, is it, Nomar, as an offensive player? Some more stats up there. You might get 1 or 2 more at bats.
Well, we talked about it. They're coming down in September. You're going, all right, listen, it's not about the stats. Stats are done. Now it's about winning. What's the best thing going down the stretch? Certain guys may need a break if they can. But we talked about it here. Yeah. You just don't get it because it just doesn't feel comfortable. You might maybe get an inning.
You know, early in the game, we talked about the possible letdown, Charlie, and my phone lit up, and it was Eric Carroll saying, if they can't get up to hit in Colorado. And Eric's probably home watching these 11 runs, probably might be turned it off by now, but he's about right. If you can't get up to hit in Colorado.
The LA Dodger home run hitting champion. Well, it took a while for the offense to wake up. On 3-2, Rojas throws out LeMahieu, 2 out. The 8 runs that the Dodgers plated in the 6th, the most since in 3 years. They did against the Padres. 8 runs at the end of August 2011. So quite an outburst for the Dodgers tonight. One that they needed. It was a 3-3 tie until the 8 runs and 7 base hits. And while the Dodgers are enjoying watching the scoreboard here in Colorado, I don't think the same can be said for the Giants in Arizona, where the Diamondbacks have a 4-0 lead. And Kyle Parker with a single into center field with 2 out. One of the things watching Baez work is that he doesn't seem overly emotional out there.
I don't think he's really overthinking it, as new as he is to pitching, with an outstanding arm coming up from third base and already getting to the big leagues. So he's keeping it very simple, and it's pretty easy to keep it simple when you're throwing above 95 miles an hour.
Go with your best stuff?
Yeah, number one.
Hard, harder, and hardest. Now, if he can just learn to throw a slider with any sort of consistency, which I imagine he'll be doing some over the winter, and as the Dodgers have an eye toward Glendale in 2015, but a lot to do between now and then as he delivers a strike to Blackman, and it's 0-1. Charlie has walked, flied to left, and bounced to short. Blackman got off to the great start this year, and slowly but surely he's come back to earth. On one hop to Gordon. Baez gives up a hit and nothing else. We'll go to the 7th inning, and the Dodgers with a big fat 8-run lead. Well, not that fat at Coors Field, but big enough. Lead into the 7th inning. That sets up tomorrow and tomorrow's probables. Brought to you by Chevron. Dan Herron, boy, he's turned it around in the last half dozen starts or so. Tyler Matzik, a left-hander with an ERA of 4 1/4. And our first pitch tomorrow will be at 5:40 Pacific time, 6:40 here. And then we play on Wednesday afternoon, Carlos Frias, Jorge De La Rosa, and then it's on to Chicago for 4, and that's next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the Giants at Dodger Stadium, and the Rockies and Dodgers will finish up the regular season the 26th, 27th, and 28th, and then the postseason. Matt Belisle is now on in relief. Miguel Rojas, his first at bat, fouls it off to the right, and it's 0-1. So the Dodgers this year 9-4 against the Rockies and 5-2 here, on their way to their 10th win against Colorado. Of course, the Dodgers have done extremely well within the Western Division. Dodgers at 44-23 have the best record of any team within its own division in the majors. So they're 44-23 against the West and 500 against everybody else. Now, if it just bring the postseason to the Western Division.
If you're going to dominate a portion of your schedule, they're dominating the correct portion.
Dodgers this year 15-4 against the Diamondbacks. On their way to going 10-4 against Colorado, 12-7 against San Diego, and 8-8 against the Giants. Rojas with a ground ball to second. Well, from the what if department. What if the playoffs began today? Well, the Pirates and Giants would have a one-game playoff, and the winner would play the Nationals and the Dodgers and Cardinals. Where have we seen those guys before? So that's as of today. One out, nobody on. D. Gordon takes a strike. By the way, Jamie Wright is officially the pitcher of record for the Dodgers. Came in at the right time, pitched an inning, gave up a run and 2 hits. And the Dodgers now lead by 11. Moral of the story, if you're going to Vegas, bring Jamie Wright with you. Gordon is 2 for 4 tonight. Gordon began the game with a line drive, well hit, but a leaping Josh Rutledge at short snared it. Puig would then single, steal a base, and after Gonzalez struck out Matt Kemp, hit his second home run in 24 hours. Dodgers had a 2-0 lead, but the Rockies scored a run in the first and a run in the second. And another rugged outing, though, for Roberto Hernandez. That's one of the stories underneath the headline. And then Paco Rodriguez and Jamie Wright.
And then sometimes you need your offense to pick you up. And so far, that's exactly what the Dodgers have done.
11 runs and 14 hits tonight.
With Ryu's injury right now, Dan Herron would slide kind of into that third starter hole. Roberto Hernandez and Carlos Frias would be there at the 4 and 5 area. But it really gets kind of precarious if all of a sudden Ryu cannot get back and get healthy as far as a playoff rotation.
Ryu had an MRI today on the shoulder, showing no structural damage. Basically, from what we understand, it looks roughly the same as it did back in April when he had to be sidelined for a couple of weeks, and then came right back and pitched without any rehab or any of that stuff. That's just the way he goes about his business. Gordon on 3 and 2. Rutledge going to have to hurry the throw, and he gets him by a half a step. So Ryu creates one giant question mark. But the Dodgers do feel a whole lot better about the way Herron has pitched of late. But Hernandez, iffy, and Frias to this point a question, and to throw him in down the stretch in important games, perhaps into the postseason, becomes an iffy proposition. Yasiel Puig has a hit in 3 at-bats, a walk, and 2 runs scored tonight.
I'll tell you, in some ways, the way Carlos Frias has pitched, if you didn't think about starting him in the playoffs, you might think about he's the long man in the bullpen, and you might think about trying to stretch Jamie Wright out if you wanted to really reach down and say who could be a veteran that you could put on the mound and be a starter that could start a game 4 in a playoffs situation. You start really looking at the roster and examining who could be somebody I could send out there and trust for 4 or 5 innings and then maybe make it a bullpen game. And that's very unlikely scenario that you don't see in the playoffs, but the way the Dodger starting staff has gotten so thin because of the injuries to Maholm and to Beckett and to now Ryu is in a precarious situation.
Well, for the second time in 3 games, every Dodger starter's got a base hit. 1-2 to Puig. Into right field, slicing toward the corner, and that's going to drop in for a hit, and Puig is on his way to second base. Yasiel Puig with his second hit of the night. And for the Dodgers, they're 15th. The Dodgers certainly have doubled their pleasure this year. Puig with 35 doubles. Gonzalez has 38. Kemp has 36. And Ramirez has 32. Again, this has been such a confounding offense this year. It's feast or famine. Well, they've been feasting the last month or so. And for the Dodgers tonight, that was their 6th double. That ties a season high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two out in the 7th. The Dodgers lead at 11-3. Gonzalez with 3 more RBIs, now the National League's league leader with 106. Kemp has 2 RBIs tonight. He's got 76. Hanley Ramirez knocked in his 69th. Dodgers came into the game 4th in the league, having scored 626 runs. And 2nd in the league with 1,330 hits. They'll tack on 11 runs and 15 more base hits tonight. So Adrian Gonzalez, everybody's wondering early in the year about his batting average being off. Well, here it is, the end of the year. A little comebacker, and that'll end the inning. He's now the National League's leader in RBIs, along with 23 home runs, although he bounces out to end the inning. No runs and a hit, 7th inning stretch. Dodgers 11-3. Well, Matt Kemp turned on the bubble machine. Justin Turner, another clutch base hit. Adrian Gonzalez with 3 RBIs tonight, and the Dodgers lead it 11-3. As we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning, and Brandon League is the 4th Dodger pitcher of the night, making his 57th appearance. Pedro Baez went an inning, gave up a hit. Jamie Wright went an inning, 1 run and 2 hits. Paco Rodriguez a third of an inning. So from the half empty, half full, the half full is the Dodgers 11 runs and 15 hits. The half empty, Roberto Hernandez 3 2/3 and failed to finish the 4th and threw 60 pitches along the way. And Brandon League, first pitch he throws, he plunks Josh Rutledge.
Rick Honeycutt and Don Mattingly are really trying to patchwork the bullpen through the rest of this game. Now they have a big lead. It's about divvying up the workload to keep everybody on track as far as not having to shut them down for tomorrow and keeping them fresh for the rest of this road trip. The Dodgers don't get an off day until Thursday at home when they get home. So it's going to be some innings every day until that Thursday.
Well, the next off day is after the final game against the Giants.
So you need your starters to really go, 6 and 7 innings would be great to protect the bullpen and keep the workload to a normal amount so that they can be rested and ready to go in any situation.
Well, the Dodgers, like everybody else, they've got a boatload of relievers out there. And now League has just hit Justin Morneau. League has thrown 4 pitches and hit 2 batters.
So he gets the back foot there of Morneau, and right now just League's just having trouble finding that strike zone and the release point.
League got off to the miserable start, then he seemed to find his sea legs, but over the last 3 weeks to a month, the legs are getting wobbly again. Michael Kadire is 1 for 3. Dodgers lead it 11-3. They've gone to the 7th in Arizona, and the Diamondbacks on the Trumbo Grand Slam lead Vogelsong and the Giants 4-0. Kadire's doubled and bounced out twice. Rutledge at second. Morneau is at first. Rojas, tough hop, makes it easy. Throw to first. Double play.
Wow. What a great double play.
I mean, the angle Rojas had to take on this ground ball, when you see the replay, when he goes to his right, he knows he has to go back because he notices the hop right there, that extra step that he gets himself in position to not only field the ball, but to get his body in the right position to make a good throw over to second base. It was just an incredible read on his part and incredible body control to make the play.
Controlling that topspin and turning the double play. 2 out. Rutledge goes to third, and Corey Dickerson is coming up. That was certainly worthy of a look of the Carl's Cam replay. So Rojas, an outstanding defender, and a ground ball to first, and Gonzalez will take it easily. Dickerson is done, and so are the Rockies. Miguel Rojas, well, had more English on it than the Queen. Tuesday and Wednesday. Limited amount of seats still available for all 3 games. Be sure to get yours today. Show up wearing your blue. To purchase tickets, visit Dodgers.com/tickets. Brooks Brown is a new pitcher for Colorado. First time the Dodgers have seen him, making his 23rd appearance. An ERA of about 3.5, and opposing hitters hitting .250 against him. Once again, Miguel Rojas, and he played shortstop for so long and so well. Watching him make a very difficult play looks so easy.
Just the angle he had to take in the read, because that ball, the hop, was not an easy hop to read right off the bat. And then, you know, to get it to second base. But I'll tell you, D. Gordon also just made an incredible turn at second base as well. But here's where it starts. But watch D. Gordon. Look at where he catches it and then just fires it over to first base. And if you notice how his momentum is actually going away behind second base, not going to first, that just shows the strength of his arm.
Both Rojas and Gordon were going the other way. So there's Matt Kemp leading it off here in the 8th inning. Dodgers with an 8-run 6th inning. Most runs they've scored in an inning in 3 years. Well, they've come to the right place.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Matt Kemp, you know, this is his 3rd game, and he's had so far, this game's not over, but he's had 7 RBI so far in his last 3 games.
Matt yesterday, the 2-run home run, and in Saturday night's hit parade, 3 hits, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. To third, Yanoa gets Kemp, first out of the 8th. Last 3 games, the Dodgers have scored 32 runs and 48 hits. That'll work.
Take that.
Yeah, that'll work. Walt Weiss coming out. Brooks Brown. He's going to give up the ball. So he faces one batter, Kemp. Grounds him out. Andre Ethier is going to pinch hit for Brandon Lee. And we're going to take a break. The top of the 8th. Dodgers by 8. Rocky pitcher. Began with Bergman, then Brothers and Massett and Belisle and Brown, and now Friedrich. We just mentioned before we go into break that the Dodgers have scored 32 runs and 48 hits in this span of the last 3 games. The most the Dodgers ever scored in a 3-game span. The Superbas back in 1901, we did highlights on SportsCenter. They scored 50 in 3 games, the most the Los Angeles Dodgers ever put together in a 3-game span, 38 back in 1996. So the Dodgers are hot. And Andre Ethier is on to face Christian Friedrich. Lefty against lefty. Ethier takes high and inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Dodgers, of course, have had many different names over the years. The Bridegrooms, the Superbas, Trolley Dodgers. For a time, they were the Robins, and back to the Dodgers.
That SportsCenter show you mentioned where you ran the highlights of the Superbas, it originated September 7th, 1979. So I think you were fibbing.
Really?
I don't think it was 1901. I'm going to look up the invention of the television. I think it's even prior to that.
Well, okay, the highlights were on a Nickelodeon. Does that work?
Yeah.
2 balls and a strike. Andre Ethier. But it was remarkable talking about that 17-0 shellacking the other night in San Francisco. Going back to the 1880s. Never had there been such a one-sided shutout in that rivalry. 2,407 games or something like that. Wow. 17-0.
It was the most runs an opponent has gotten against the Giants?
The Dodger-Giant rivalry. 17-0 in 2,400 and something games. 2-2 to Ethier with 1 out in the 8th. 3-2. Giants scored a run at the top of the 7th inning stretch in Arizona, 4-1 Diamondbacks. Friedrich on 3-2 to Ethier. 2nd out of the 8th. And Carl Crawford coming up. Crawford, a triple, hit by a pitch, an RBI, and a run scored tonight. Dodgers blew it open in the 6th inning, a 3-3 tie to that point, then 8 runs and 7 hits. And Crawford has been hit by a pitch for the 2nd time, and he is being walked up the first base line by Hunter Wendelstadt, just in case.
Carl asked Will and Rosario, was that payback? They had a little conversation there about what's going on, and Brandon League hits a couple guys, and Carl's wondering, and probably Will said, it was a breaking ball. We didn't mean to do that.
Right. And I'm sure Carl was upset too because it's the 2nd time he got hit today.
Yeah.
And League hit 2 batters and 4 pitches. So that can't imagine there was any intent there.
No.
Uribe with 3 hits tonight. Takes high and outside. A.J. Ellis on deck. Way outside.
That pitch will make Carl feel better. Like other balls are getting away from him.
See, it really wasn't intentional.
Yeah. And that was a fastball. That one hurt a lot more.
There's a question for you. Would you? I'm sure you've never hit anybody on intentional.
I never did.
Right.
No.
Of course not.
No.
But If you had, would it ever be with a curveball or a breaking ball? I mean, you know anybody, any pitcher who ever has that said, "Oh, I'll do it with a curveball."
Yeah, I actually heard that on the post-game show the other day, driving home from our post-game show at Sportsnet LA, and then listening to Kevin Kennedy talk about, I remember trying to hit people with breaking balls, and I'm like, why would you ever do that?
What's the point?
Yeah.
So to say that we weren't trying to hit you and that we did.
To try and disguise it a little
bit.
But I don't get the point.
Okay.
Like Charlie
maybe
said,
with a slider, maybe because it's a little harder than a
maybe
curveball.
A cutter.
Okay,
but not
still,
a curveball.
But even a cutter, you get mad at that as a hitter. It's like
I used to hit lefties on their back foot with my curveball, trying to get it down and in, but not on purpose.
Now A.J. Ellis with 2 on and 2 out. The Dodgers comfortably in front, 11-3. Friedrich deals and Ellis takes a strike. Ellis 1 for 3 and a run scored. Piece of news: Jonathan Papelbon. I'm sure everybody has heard about that brouhaha. Has been suspended for 7 games.
You insinuated that maybe there was a time during my career that I hit somebody on purpose.
That was a question. I'm sure because there's never been.
But
a
it was an
that's
accusatory
look. No, well, I just was looking to say I'm sure you've never hit anybody. You're right, Oral, because your mentality on the mound, the bulldog mentality, the nickname, and I'm sure you never protected any of your players. That's good to know because I'm sure they know that now.
Jock Peterson, by the way, is going to pinch run for Carl Cross. It was the look in your eye.
I can tell you this, that if I happened to hit somebody, they were too comfortable in the batter's box.
And it was always an accident.
It's the hitter's fault.
Oh, really? Because they were
You've got 60 feet 6 inches to get out of the way.
Right.
What must Ellis do to get a hit? Friedrich sticks up his glove and look what he finds. No runs, no hits, 2 left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. And the Dodgers lead it 11-3. Postseason is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 at bat, #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, the MLB.TV game of the day, and more. Get at bat for your smartphone or tablet on the App Store or visit MLB.com. Scott Van Slyke takes over at first base. He's got a nice beard. Andre Ethier's just kind of working on one. And the man who has, there's Jock Peterson in center, and the man who has mastered the art of facial hair. Brian Wilson making his 54th appearance. ERA of 4 3/4, and opposing hitters hitting .257 against him. So he's getting some work. in the bottom half of the 8th, and the Dodgers leading it 11-3. Diamondbacks continue to hit in the bottom of the 7th with a 4-1 lead over the Giants. Wilson, the 6th pitcher of the night. Roberto Hernandez, 3 2/3, 2 runs and 6 hits. Once again, pitch count is undoing. And Willing Rosario, who had a home run off Hernandez in his first at bat tonight, then single to center, takes a strike, it's 0-1. Rafael Inoa on deck, and then DJ LeMahieu. Slicing toward the right field, but foul. Stands, and it's 0-2. So Ethier in right. Kemp is out of the game. Gonzalez is out of the game, and Crawford is out of the game. And since about the 7th inning, so are the Rockies. Dodgers with an 8-run 6th inning. Most runs they scored in an inning in 3 years. What was a 3-3 tie. Did Rosario go around? Apparently not. 1-2.
The baseball bench can be a very sarcastic place, but sometimes that
Really?
humor is so biting. And when a guy hasn't played very much, like Andre Ethier, as he went out to right field, somebody might have said to him, "Do you need a map?" That's one of the things that used to be said a lot on our benches.
Here's the 1-2 Rosario takes outside.
So many fun lines like that. And it's not fun for him, but it kind of breaks the ice, like we kid because we care.
Right.
And, you know, you're friends with him and you're tight and you know it's been a hard year for him. And
It's like Christmas. It's better to
go through. But when they get something like that, like an at bat, and get to go play some defense, he was always a one-liner from somebody.
Someone like you, Oral.
No, not. I learned those from other people.
Of course.
And never used them again.
Of
But
course.
I thought I'd just share them right here tonight.
That was a good idea. 3-2 to Rosario, beginning the bottom of the 8th. In the short right, and it's going to drop behind Gordon and in front of Ethier, naturally.
And D. Gordon just showing off his athleticism right there. I mean, and has to as well, recognizing, okay, he gets to that ball and the batter might be thinking about going to second, but watch, because he knows he has to get this one in, gets to it, and just showing that up and makes a good throw.
And why make that play in an 11-3 game? Make that play because you might need to make that sometime in the next month.
If I tried that, I'd be in traction for a week. Rafael Inoa, who's 1 for 3.
And if D. Gordon tried to do play-by-play, we wouldn't know what was going on in the game. He's a man of few words.
I think of it as a push.
Yeah. It would be pictures.
Inoa, 8 years in the Dodger organization, finally makes it to the major leagues with the Rockies. Spent most of the year at AAA. As Wilson delivers a strike. Meanwhile, Arizona has scored a run in the bottom of the 7th. Now lead the Giants 5-1. Brian Wilson. Delivers outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Brian Wilson has had a lot of frustrating innings this year where those balls hit the way Rosario hit them, have fallen in, and he's had to push himself mentally to get through innings like this. he's so used to in the past years of having such clean innings.
And at his best with the Giants, high pressure situations in which he thrived, and he was so good for the Dodgers in the 18 or so appearances he made last year, coming in late. Rojas, Gordon, Van Slyke. So another 6-4-3 double play authored by Miguel Rojas.
Brian Wilson's breathe a sigh of relief right there and give a point to Miguel Rojas and D. Gordon for that quick turn to erase those outs.
Pinch hitter now for the Rockies, Christian Adames, batting for LeMahieu. So Walt Weiss is emptying the bench. In basketball, it's known as garbage time. It's inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes to Adames. Story of the night for the Dodgers, their offense. Actually, the last 3 nights. 32 runs and 48 hits. 11 runs and 15 hits this evening in Colorado.
And slip in 8 innings by Clayton Kershaw and Kenley Jansen's 42nd save. Pretty good 3 games.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Kershaw, the National League Player of the Week.
Mm-hmm.
With his performance in San Francisco, a high chopper to third, and there's Uribe. And that ends the inning. No runs and a hit, nobody left. We'll go to the 9th. Dodgers leading at 11-3. Team hit just 168 with the bases loaded. But the turning point of the game is tonight's player and play of the game, brought to you by Lexus. Justin Turner, with the bases loaded, nobody out, turn this game on its heels. Dodgers would end up scoring 8 in the 6th. It was that double that gave the Dodgers a lead they would not relinquish, and they lead it 11-3. Meanwhile, in Arizona, the Diamondbacks now have a 6-1 lead over San Francisco, still hitting in the bottom of the 7th. And Adam Ottavino is on to finish things up for the Rockies. 11 runs, 15 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. That 8-run 6 broke open a 3-3 tie. The Rockies 3 runs and 10 base hits. And a fastball outside, 1 ball, no strikes to Miguel Rojas, with Gordon on deck and Puig to follow. Dodgers now an inning away from going over 22 games over 500 for the first time. Foul back. they've got the best road record in baseball at 45-29, about to be 46-29. They will go 45-23 over the Western Division. They've beaten everybody soundly in the West except the Giants, against whom they're 8-8. Rojas to the right. 29,031 came in. And they're about 2,931 still here. Plenty of good seats still available, so if you're in the neighborhood.
Kind of have the park to yourself.
Like your chances for a souvenir. Rojas to third. Noah picks it up. 1 out. Noah, the one-time Dodger farmhand, taking over for Nolan Arenado. Medically, they say it's a chest contusion. We humans call it bruised ribs.
You know, always looking back and looking forward, and if you look back to the Dodgers' response to that 9-0 whooping on Friday, these last 3 games, they've done a pretty nice job.
I'll tell you what, leaving AT&T Park on Friday night after that shellacking, almost everybody, as they were going onto the bus, nobody was looking straight ahead. They were all looking down at their shoes. And it felt like on that bus ride back to the hotel, being part of the world's largest hearse. And yet they come out the next day, and after Gordon began the game by striking out, Puig stretched a single into a double, and that just energized the house, at least in the first base dugout. Gonzalez would ground out, and then the Dodgers would score 4 runs, and then 4 more in the second. And so that one little play. Now, if Puig had been thrown out at second base, who knows how it would have all turned out. But it was palpable. You could feel it. And then the 4 more, and then there is nothing louder than a crowd at AT&T Park except the silence when their team is getting beat up. And the silence was deafening on Saturday. And then Kershaw coming out on Sunday, there was a sense of inevitability about the outcome. And then the Dodgers, and the big story coming into the game tonight, as we were talking about it in the open. Would there be a letdown? And for the first 5 innings, it was a legitimate question. Then 1 in the 5th, 8 in the 6th, and the Dodgers baring their teeth and flexing their muscles.
Well, Oral, you and I were talking about in the post game yesterday about how Dodger fans should really be proud of the Dodgers, especially after that game on Friday, just the way they came back the next 2 days. And then here once again.
And it really took them only about 4 innings there on Saturday to define to the Giants how big a hill they have to climb to get back into this against the Dodgers, because of the runs they were scoring on Saturday early and the fact that the Giants had Kershaw looming on Sunday. So it was almost like, we're going to punch you in the mouth right back after the Friday beating, and we're going to punch you in the mouth back on Saturday. But Clayton Kershaw is coming at you on Sunday, and that's going to be the knockout, at least for this series. And then coming into this game tonight, Don Mattingly just worrying about that flat tire, that the team would take a breath and overlook the Rockies, and they have not.
The 2-2 to Gordon. Slice to left and foul.
And, you know, it's important that your manager's reminding you of that, you know, rather than just letting it go and just saying, oh, I believe my team won't be flat. They won't have the letdown. But he wasn't assuming that. He was just, you know, he just was reminding them.
Shot over the bow.
Absolutely. Just to let them know. And it's always good to be reminded that, and just puts it, yeah, hey, he's right. And they've done a great job.
To short. Rutledge throws out Gordon. 2 out.
You know, in a game like these, too, coming out of the Giants series, for guys like D. Gordon and Yasiel Puig and Hanley Ramirez, there's a difference of trying to come out of a slump during a big series And there's a difference of trying to build your swing and build your confidence back when the big series is over, and now we're just, in some ways, for them, playing not less significant games, but less pressured games. That they can try and get some rhythm in these games and try and find their mechanics.
Puig with a couple of hits tonight and a walk and 2 runs scored.
Yeah, I think you really have something with Yasiel Nomar on about the distance he is from the plate. Some of the pitches away look like for him to reach them, he has to lose his balance. As erect as he's standing and as far away from the plate as he is. Like that pitch right there.
Slicing toward the right field corner and foul.
I mean, he looks 3-4 inches too far from the plate because he has to lose his balance to reach that pitch. Compared to hitting that pitch fair and firmly.
Yeah, I mean, that's
if he gets closer to the plate, then he's not going to have such a long swing on the inside pitch either.
No, he can be short to the ball. And he can just react.
3-4 inches too far away from the plate.
Where you get 295, grounds it into the Dodger dugout.
That one almost broke, looked like almost in the middle of the plate. Once again, middle to middle away. And he has to reach for it. It's not like he was just, I've said he's opened up and been out in front, but he has to reach for that because of his distance from home plate.
And there's advanced scouts sitting in the stands right behind home plate saying he loses his balance, guys, on balls away.
Ottavino on 0-2. Same pitch, same result.
And the more he leans out there to reach to get that pitch, the bigger hole he's going to have on the inside.
And the other thing about it, too, is if you're the opposing team and you're recognizing that, is even if he does happen to square it up, I mean, that's a great shot right there. Look at him. He has to lean out to just try to make contact. But even if he does make contact, he's not going to have power to drive it out that way.
He just crept a little closer.
One and two.
But he can't creep closer by closing off that front side, can he? That front
that's
foot is the one that did it. He didn't do it with the back foot.
And I know you're going, well, I'm going to try to reach that way, but you end up now if they happen, it makes you even more susceptible to ball in because then you have to clear your hips and it makes you really fly open and drop your bat, front shoulder flying. You can tell he's thinking right now. He's probably going, how am I missing those? Those pitches are on the plate and I'm missing it.
There's world-class ability and then there's world-class mechanics. If you combine them together, that's when he's hot. Right now, he's struggling to find the swing.
A ball and 2 strikes, 2 out in the ninth. Ynoa. Oh, that was some snare. And he gets Puig. Rafael Ynoa, 8 years in the Dodger farm system. Finally getting a chance at the big league level with the Rockies. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Dodgers 11-3. Rafael Ynoa. Leading it by 8, and the Dodgers want to encourage you to wear your blue to Dodger Stadium during the series against the Giants next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in order to stage a Dodger Blue Out. All merchandise will be discounted 20% at stadium locations, and special prizes will be given to those sporting the most blue. Don't miss your chance to be part of the Dodger Blue Out. Go to Dodgers.com/tickets to get your tickets today. So Chris Perez on in relief to finish off the small details with the Dodgers leading it by 8. If the Dodgers hang on and win, and why not, they lead by 8 runs. And Arizona has a 6-2 lead with the Giants hitting in the 8th inning at Chase Field. Within the hour, the Dodgers' magic number will be in single digits, down to 9. So how big was that game yesterday, with the Dodgers behind Kershaw winning at 4-2 instead of what could have been a 1-game lead? A whole different psychology between the Dodgers and Giants. Instead, the 3-game lead. And again, within the hour, it looks like the Dodger magic number will be down to 9. This is Ben Paulson pitch hitting. And this is the first time we have seen him. Risbel Arabarena has taken over at short. Rojas has moved to third, and Drew Butera is behind the plate. So everybody getting a chance to break a sweat. And the Dodgers haven't been sweating much really since their 8-run 6th inning. 11-3. Paulson, a September 1st call-up, played at AAA this year. Outside and high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Perez blows it past him at 94, first out of the 9th. Here's Charlie Blackmon coming up. Perez is the 7th Dodger pitcher of the night. Jamie Wright, the only reliever out of the bullpen who gave up a run, is in line to get the win. Roberto Hernandez struggled again tonight, 3 2/3, 2 runs, 6 hits. And here's Arabarena booting it. Picks it up and still is unable to make the play. Well, the sure-handed Risbel Arabarena with an error.
He gets in front of it. This is one where he thinks he has it and it just pops out of his glove. That's really all that was right there. And just, you know, he got the body right and unable to keep it in the glove.
So now Josh Rutledge is the batter. And he takes low and outside. 1 ball, no strikes. First error of the night for the Dodgers. Been a big night in Arizona for the former Angel Mark Trumbo. A grand slam in the 3rd inning. Drove in a run in the 7th. He's knocked in 5 of the 6 as the D-backs lead the Giants 6-2 in the 8th inning. Rutledge fouls it off. Dan Herron tomorrow against Tyler Matzik. Matzik, a left-hander. Early in the year, the Dodgers struggled against lefties. Second half of the season, collectively, they're hitting over 260 against left-handers. Early in the year, it's about 210. And against left-handed starters, the Dodgers now have one of the better records in the game, 24-13. Here's the 1-2. Call strike 3.
The underlying story for the games the next 2 days for the Dodgers, other than they would love to get some wins, of course, to keep the the Giants at bay, is really the starting pitchers going at least 6 innings and protecting the bullpen. Because with this 3 2/3 from Roberto Hernandez, and then Dan Herron going tomorrow, and then you've got the rookie on Wednesday, Carlos Frias, you really would love to get like 12 innings out of Dan and Carlos to leave only 6 innings or so for the bullpen.
Well, the next pitch thrown by Chris Perez will be the 303rd pitch offered up tonight by the two teams. And there is somebody keeping count of such things. No balls and a strike. This is Matt McBride pinch hitting. At this point in the game, it feels like the middle of March.
Yeah.
No balls and 2 strikes, and the Dodgers are a strike away. So the Dodgers getting hot at the right time of year. Washington's already won their game, so the Dodgers remain a half a game behind Nationals. The Nationals for the best record in the National League. Here's the 0-2. Foul back and out of play. With the win tonight, the Dodgers will go 32-21 since the All-Star break. And tonight, flexing their offensive muscle again. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Perez deals, swung on and missed strike 3. Chris Perez strikes out the side. The Dodgers beat the Colorado Rockies 11-3, whittle their magic number down to 10. The Dodgers in the last 3 games score 32 runs, 48 hits, and tonight it was 11 runs and 15 base hits. The Dodgers improved their record to 86-64. They're 22 games over 500 for the first time this year, and they have won 8 of their last 10. Handshakes and high fives galore. So that's a wrap for us. As the Dodgers, Matt Kemp, big 2-run home run in the first inning, set the tone. Dodgers beat the Rockies tonight 11-3. For Alana Rizzo, Oral Hershiser, Nomar Garcia-Parra, Charlie Sun, for our entire Access Sportsnet crew here in Los Angeles, we send it back to Los Angeles, where Hyundai and the crew await.